Mortgage One Studios. Russ Clark with you. Dan Dean's here. It's not even Wednesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Oh, wait a minute. I got the wrong one. Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, here on a Tuesday. I expect to be here tomorrow, too.
Oh, good. I would need it. There's a lot to cover. You make it easier. I'm fairly,
well, thank you. I'm
lazy.
Glad that you appreciate me being here.
I really do. I do. I like your viewpoints. And, you know, and you're a double check on me because I tend to be a little naive.
I don't know.
I'll go along with something quicker than you.
Well, we all are ignorant about some things, you know, and I think
I wasn't going with the ignorant thing, but
well, it's easier to be, how can we put it, to pull one over on somebody who doesn't know something about the subject.
Sure.
So,
I mean, I'm inquisitive, but you're more.
Well, I'm very skeptical.
Skeptical. Yeah, I'm inquisitive. You're skeptical.
I think I'm inquisitive too, but I'm also very skeptical because I've seen so much where it's so easy to be fooled. And I mean, especially with computer programs.
Yeah.
I mean,
even with the AI stuff. And all
well, probably more so today with AI. I think I told the story. I'll just mention it briefly that when I did my master's thesis at the University of Wisconsin, there was a computer program that had been used, and they had passed legislation on the basis that this computer program showed enormous profits by a mining company. Well, after I'd done my thesis, I was fluent in Fortran. And I read that program and I said, oh, they've got one character in this 1,000-line program that's reversed. It should have been a negative instead of a positive, and completely changed everything in the program.
Did you point that out?
Well, yeah, I pointed out in my thesis, but the law had been passed quite a while before, and a couple of years. That's how we got all the data. All the data was from that was available publicly. And it just, and the other thing that they didn't take into account was they didn't take inflation into account. And we found when we did our more sophisticated analysis that if inflation hit over about 8%, the people who invested in the mine got essentially no return at all. They just broke even because the inflation meant that they were paid back in cheap dollars for what had been expensive dollars when they'd invested.
Yeah.
So, and those were interesting. I think it was worthwhile to do, but it made me very skeptical about accepting what computer programs tell you because they're no better than what's put into them.
I thought it had to be true if it's on the internet.
Yeah,
right.
Boy. I mean, and there's there has been, I'm hoping more skepticism is coming about, but there has been this, you know, sort of a TV thing. The computer says so, therefore it must be true.
Right. I know, but
horrible.
I like that. I think I think that points out the absurdity.
Well, and it used to be.
That's like trust all women.
Yeah, they never lie. It used to be a truism for computers. If you put the same input in, you'd get the same output out.
I hear you use the word used to.
Yeah, it's not true anymore because almost all the computers are hooked up to the internet and they get little subtle changes happen all the time. I mean, they may upgrade some program. There may be a little bit more data put into a database that's
so you get something different.
Just the date and time change. And these little things can cascade into major effects.
And with AI, you're going to get something different from every AI too.
That's true.
Yeah. You would think there's a universal correctness. There's not.
There's not.
Subjectivity.
There is, especially in the large language models. I mean, the AI will tend to sort of read you. I mean, it's just collecting stuff and trying different things. It's not really thinking. The large language models aren't. I'd say some different kinds of AI come close to thinking, but the large language models are just trying to come up with a response that they think you want to hear. And they may.
That makes sense.
And I have seen in the AI I'm using, I'll mention it's Grok 4.1, but in that one, and I've heard that from many other people, especially my daughter who works with AI all the time. She says, yes, you have to be very careful because they'll lie to you. And then they will support the lie.
Which is disappointing.
Very disappointing.
And I told you, early when we were talking about AI, I want to take a class on it to learn how to use AI to help manage my day, start managing things for me. Because I saw I guess it was a webinar or something on a gentleman, a high-end executive that uses AI for all his stuff. I mean, his calendar's in there, and a lot of his letters, everything is
Right.
sorted by AI, put together by AI.
Well,
He wakes up to it and says, "What am I doing today?"
yeah, I think it can work well for you for something like that as sort of a super organizer.
Sure.
And especially if you tailor it to your needs,
Right.
that's probably he's trained it in a particular way. And I found it very useful to me when I was setting up a spreadsheet.
But I wouldn't know where to begin to do that, and I wouldn't know which AI or any of that. So I need to take a class on it, and there's got to be some available. I know through the internet there is.
There's a lot online, I'm sure.
Online,
you might start there, but it is. I find that I can sometimes pick up stuff faster from a person teaching a class.
Yeah.
But
then you can ask. Well, you can ask questions.
You get better feedback, I think.
I think so.
And also, because a person is a
feedback I relate to.
Well, yeah, and they've gone through it. They already experienced some of the problems or difficulties or ways to make mistakes that you might not have experienced yet. So they can guide you through some of those pitfalls.
Of course, maybe if the class was taught by AI, but it was a robot AI that looked human.
Well,
maybe that'd be more comforting.
I don't know, maybe.
Or would that be more distressing?
It sounds like it's more expensive to me. I don't know. I just went online. I started using it, and it's been useful. I wouldn't say it's disappointing when you find out that it's telling you things you know are not true, and then it tries to tell you that you're wrong. I mean, that was startling to me. I didn't expect that.
I got to tell you, I received a text this morning from one of the listeners. It says, starting to see several medical reports that Trump is exhibiting frontotemporal dementia, FTD, the same condition as Bruce Willis. More and more, he's behaving differently. Hope it isn't true, but getting hard to ignore it. I mean, I've been hearing a lot of rhetoric from Democrats, but I've been hearing that since 2016.
Right. You know, I
ignore that.
I do too.
Now, if there's something serious out there, I would be interested in seeing. I'd be interested in hearing what his doctors have to say.
Right.
But I don't know that I have noticed anything, and I try to pay attention.
It's tough, and because all his appearances are short, relatively.
Oh gosh, no. I mean, I've seen him give 2-hour speeches.
Sure, still. But the stuff I see recently, anyway, I see little clips, and to me, I mean, he seems to be in control, and he seems to be making good decisions, and he has this incredible team around him.
Yeah.
So, I tend to discount it just because
I would tell you
the attacks have been so
with
constant.
Biden. I definitely thought this guy's having problems, as everybody did. But the Dems would refuse to see it. And I would not be one of those that would refuse to see it. If Trump has a problem, we need to know it.
Right. I definitely saw that Joe Biden had problems. But he also had moments of clarity, it appeared to me.
Yeah. Rumor was that they would put some drugs on him and stuff, some stuff that would zip him up a little bit.
And I think what really showed it up, and I'm sure
the debate
did it. And I believe I've read many commentators say this, and I think it's probably correct, that the people who pushed him to do the debate wanted him to fail or wanted to expose his weakness.
I had heard those theories. Hard to tell if they were true. You don't know.
If you're around the person a lot of hours a day, and you see the sorts of behaviors that you saw exhibited in the debate, how would you advise him to go through with the debate unless you wanted him to fail? Is what I'm saying.
Maybe they've done that before. Gave him some kind of drug, and he was fine. And this time it didn't work or something.
Yeah,
who knows?
That's a good point. There are other possibilities.
It's hard to say. I don't think we're going to get any truths from any of those handlers or anything.
Well, I don't know. Who knows? A tell-all book 15 years from now.
Yeah. Dr.
Maybe.
Jill writes it or something.
Yeah, who knows?
I doubt it.
How we fooled him again.
But there was so much in his public appearance, so many missteps, so many stuff.
I mean, he was obviously having problems.
He was frail.
But it also shows how hard it is to unseat a president who is having problems.
It wouldn't be hard. Not for a Republican, I don't think. I think it would be for a Democrat. They're going to stand by him no matter what. I think the Republicans would come forward.
It could be.
And say, look, dude, you need to back off. Time to take a break.
Now, this is what I call a different treatment by the media. I think that would happen because the Republicans would be more tuned to treatment by the media, whereas the media would support.
I wasn't even thinking about media. I think they would be more caring.
I'm giving the explanation what I think why they would do it.
That may be true, but I wasn't really thinking that. But
I mean, I am a conservative. I'm a Republican. I'm registered as a Republican now. But I don't think Republicans are necessarily more pure in their motives and better people.
No, I'm not saying they're pure, but
what I'm saying is that there are pressures on them that force them to be better.
For me, if I was in that position and I knew Trump was having problems, I would want to do it for him, for the country, for everything.
I think it's a matter of degree.
And the Democrats don't feel that. Well, they were going to stand by Biden no matter what and scream that he's the best he's ever been, like a Joe Scarborough. It's an embarrassment.
But then they put him up for the debate. So there's a trope out there that says that Republicans see Democrats as people with bad ideas, and Democrats see Republicans as bad people with ideas. Mm-hmm. And there's a completely different emphasis if that's your outlook. You know, if we see Democrats that they're people with bad ideas, then we want to argue with them or try to convince them their ideas are bad. But if they see Republicans as bad people with ideas, they're not interested in listening to what bad people have to say.
I'm not interested in I am interested. I'll listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene. And at one time I liked her. I thought she was kind of fun. Now she's gone.
I think she seems to have gone over the edge.
But somebody that does that, I have no respect for, like the Liz Cheney or MJT, because it just shows that I shouldn't have trusted her in the first place. Her total thought process is totally different.
Of course, my trust level is pretty low no matter what.
So. Yeah, it is. Well, that keeps you safe, though.
Well,
you're not going to get.
I'm an optimistic kind of person. I'd love for everybody to be, wonderful Mother Teresa, types, but they're not. And especially people in the political realm tend to be Machiavellian.
You've worked with people that lie for a living.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's their jobs.
Yes. You talk to anybody actively in intelligence or undercover work, and they have to lie all the time.
Right.
And the ones that survive and thrive in it are good at it. Very good at
it. This person that wrote me about Trump with the possibility of some kind of dementia says quite a few conservative pundits would disagree with both of us. And I don't know, disagree with us on what, because we don't agree.
Yeah, but, not all the time, for sure.
But I don't know of any conservative pundits out there that are saying that Trump is having medical issues.
Well, I think the idea,
other than like the
idea of
Marjorie Taylor Greene or something.
What is a conservative pundit? That can be stretched quite a ways.
I guess so. And I'm not experienced enough to say that he's got dementia. I can't diagnose that, but I could diagnose that Biden was not himself and he was having trouble. I don't know what it was, but that guy.
Well, part of the problem is that Trump has been a stable genius his whole life.
Yeah.
And so when you look at him, he has to drop a long ways before he starts looking, that he doesn't have it. I mean, he's been so incredibly effective.
I don't see anything in him yet at all. That's, for me, that shows him slowing down.
To be honest, I'm thinking of the way I saw him in 2016, and he seems to have a little less energy now.
That's possible. I mean, I haven't compared them. But you take
8 years in between.
You take some of Biden's tapes when he was president, and then some from 10 years ago, and it was a total different person.
Sure, I believe that.
Totally different. I don't think we're gonna get that with Trump, but possibly. I think he's a little more patient now. I can't believe
that's a possibility that he's a little more careful about how he says things.
Yeah, I mean, considering all the things he said recently, that's kind of sketchy. But yeah, he's more careful.
It strikes me that I would say that he is a little more.
But there's some things he said recently that he had to take back, and there's all that. I want to talk about DoorDash for a second. He was at the White House, had DoorDash show up. Did you see that at all?
No, I didn't see that.
It was kind of hilarious because a lady, Sharon Simmons, shows up at the door, and of course she's on camera going to the door.
Okay.
Because all the press is out front.
Yeah, all right.
And so he's on down, and she knocks on the door or rings bell, I don't know. And Donald Trump, the president of the United States, answers his own door. And it was nice to see her. He gets a DoorDash. He wants to talk to her about no tax on tips. He says hello to the press and all that. Yeah. At some point, he looked at the press and asked if it looked set up. In fact,
I'm pretty sure she had an appointment.
Here's what it said. This doesn't look staged, does it? Which is hilarious. Yeah, that lets me know he doesn't have dementia. He's got a sense of humor. Oh my!
He's always had a sense of humor.
But he's got the whole press out front, so he answers a lot of questions and stuff. And they're talking about her particular case where she said she picked up an extra $11,000 because her tax bill was reduced by that because there's no tax on tips, which sounds like a lot. I mean, I mean, how much does she get in tips?
I was going to say, I mean, you have to get over 100,000 before you hit the 20%.
Well, now she is a celebrity, and she delivered. What do you think she delivered to DoorDash? What product do you think?
Food? I don't know.
Yeah, what kind of food?
I don't know, pizza.
No, McDonald's. He's known for McDonald's.
Yeah. Okay, you were talking at this particular case.
Yeah, this case.
Yeah. I had heard that something about a couple of bags of McDonald's showing up.
Yeah, and these weren't like just cheap little bags. They had the little rope handles on them and all that. And I was like, I don't know if those are normal DoorDash. They might be. I don't know. I don't ever receive them, but I thought, well, they went all out on the bags even. They were crisp and nice, like McDonald's had them pressed that day.
Yeah. Well,
we need to iron those bags out.
If I knew this was happening, I would go all out too.
It was staged big time.
Well, duh.
I mean, Trump does not answer his own door, and you don't get to the White House front door.
No.
To knock on with DoorDash. That's not
there were probably several secret agents in
that's not going to get you there.
This is where you walk up. And
what do you want to bet those McDonald's hamburgers were X-rayed?
Yeah, I could believe
that. Yeah.
Not too. I wouldn't have a difficult time with that.
No. But she said the driver met Trump during delivery at the White House, where she thanked him directly, telling him it had made a significant difference in her household. It has helped my family out immensely, and I definitely appreciate it. And she's referring to the no tax on tips and all that.
Well, it might be that this is a family income tax, joint filing.
Could be.
Yeah, and that would explain the 11,000 a little easier.
Well, and she tells her story a little bit, and that's what she's going to be out doing today. And she looks, I mean, from her appearance, she's not an actress. I mean, she was a normal DoorDash lady. She says she's been doing it since 2021, and tips are a major part of her income. They don't make that much doing DoorDash.
Right.
They rely on tips. And she said her husband reduced his hours while undergoing cancer treatments.
Oof.
So, of course, she's a great spokesman.
Yeah.
Because she has real problems. And the tips was a big source of their income and financial support. I guess she's going to be on Fox News today or something. So,
yeah, I'm trying to remember. I read something about the legislation of no tax on tips, and I thought there were some limitations.
It is. It's like $24,000 is the maximum you can you could do that. There is some limitations. It can't be $1 million in taxes. I mean, the tips can't get $1 million tip. And at some point, when during the transaction, one of the news people, the interviewers screamed out, "How well does the White House tip? Do they tip well at the White House?"
It's the first and only time she's ever been there.
Yeah, probably. I would think so. You don't get to the White House. I mean, usually you would deliver that at the gate or something if it does come, and those guys would take it. But Trump reached into his pocket and gave her some folding cash real quick. So, like I said, I think he's mentally still with it.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, it's humorous and sharp and quick thinking.
And the fact he said this doesn't look staged, does it? It's just perfect because it's so obviously staged.
Right.
Because nobody's going to knock on the door.
Yeah, I mean,
not since Lincoln.
I was going to say since Lincoln, Lincoln would have people that would knock on the door. I mean, and
there were no fences then in the
he only
yard.
Had I think one or two bodyguards.
Yeah, and they even followed him around. They went to Ford Theater. He just was sleeping.
I read about that, and I'm trying to think if. I thought the bodyguard might have stepped out to get something or another.
I thought he dozed off for somebody. It was a Pinkerton or something at the time. When he worked for a private company. I don't know if it was.
Might have been, but it wasn't. It did not seem significant dereliction of duty on his part from when I recall reading it.
I think in the movie it looked like he was probably the wrong guy to go with him that day.
Relying on movies for factual.
That's where I get it, Dean. That's where I get it.
Idea.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
I mean, even the best documentaries get stuff wrong.
Have you ever been to the Ford Theater?
No.
It's still. It's. I don't know if they. I don't know if they still have events in there. I would imagine they do. It looks like it's set up for that.
I would think it'd been refurbished in the last 150 years.
Apparently, it looks just like it did when Lincoln was there.
Really?
It may be refurbished, but they refurbished it to be the same. It's not updated.
That's a long time for a wooden structure.
And right across the street is the bed that he died in. Still, that house is all still the same. They took him to a residence across the street.
Yeah.
And he died over there. He was pronounced dead over there, like a day later or something, next day sometime.
Yeah, a lot of people have speculated on how our world might be different if he had
would have
been assassinated, but it's really hard.
He had a whole different viewpoint on how to treat the South.
Yes, that's what I've read.
He really said, "Look, we're all the same family. The sooner we get back together." And all that stuff. It wasn't. It wasn't going to be a punishment like the carpetbagger thing.
His vice president was Johnson, and Johnson was accused of being sympathetic to the South.
Yeah, it didn't. I don't think the policies worked out that way.
No, they didn't. I mean, you had the radical Republicans. I believe they were called at the time, or in history, and they imposed martial law. The South was occupied by Union troops for about 10 years, almost 10 years. Yeah. I mean, I think 1875 is when they pulled the Union troops out. I
think we should occupy Illinois, California, New York.
I've written about that actually. I said, well,
until we straighten that out, try to get those
kind of tongue in cheek, but we have a precedent.
Well, yeah, and we should treat them like we do Venezuela. Just we expect you to do things right, and you run it, but do it the right way.
There's about 10 or 12 states that are not quite in open rebellion, but they're clearly there's working hard.
There's 3 that are headline doing it.
Yeah,
and those are the 3 I just mentioned. I mean, it's open rebellion pretty much.
Well. It's not.
It's defiance.
It's defiance. Defiance of federal policies.
Yep. And if they pass a law that's in defiance to the Constitution and they lose, they'll just do another law the same way with a little different.
I've seen that. I specialize in writing about Second Amendment stuff and guns, and that's what you see. The Supreme Court will come out with what appears to me a fairly clear decision or opinion, and then there's about a dozen states that just pass laws to find some way to work around. Well, they didn't exactly mean this. If we word the law this way, we can get the same effect with a slightly different law. Then they'll have to adjudicate that through the courts, and it'll take another 3 years. And then, if they make a change on that, then we'll change the law a little more. And there's a case. Let's see. What's Duncan v. Bonta, I think is what it's called now. It used to be Duncan v. Becerra out of California. And I mentioned another time that we just had a judge from the Southern District of California retired. Her name was Roger Benitez, who is extremely good on Second Amendment issues. And he's the judge that first tried that case. And it was in 2017 when it started. That case went all the way up to the Supreme Court, was sent back down. Judge Benitez heard it a second time and had, I think, a better opinion, but the same result. And then it is still in the process of being appealed.
Yeah.
It's on appeal to the Supreme Court. They've asked for a writ of certiorari, and the Supreme Court has not granted it yet, but it's in their bin of people. And here it's been, let's see, 17, so 9 years.
I think the people on the left, and you've heard a lot of politicians and stuff talk about that strategy, just delay.
Yeah, delay and hope something happens.
Right.
You know, I mean, maybe a bunch of, a meteor will hit the Supreme Court and we'll get to replace, justices with leftist justices somehow.
Right. Well, if Trump does have dementia, I think after his second year is complete, he should step down.
That's an interesting thought.
Well,
we have a pretty deep bench, I think.
We have a very deep bench, and that would make J.D. Vance president. Now, he doesn't have dementia, and he would be running as an incumbent.
I've been impressed. He's been very sharp.
Very good. Him and Marco Rubio. Gosh, man, how good is he?
I did not have that high opinion of Marco Rubio, but
I didn't
you look
either.
at how he has performed in the Trump administration. It's spectacular.
And he just, every time he grabs a microphone, it's worth listening to.
It's just amazing.
He's kind of like a Steve Miller, but calm.
How did I miss this when he was a senator?
Me too. I felt the same way. Or even when he was running for president, he just didn't come across that way.
It just did not come across that way.
No.
And here he is. A secretary position is a place to show your stuff, show what you've got and how good you are. And Trump, Rubio is doing it.
But Trump has a bench full of people that are doing it. But Rubio stands out maybe because he's handling such sensitive
it's partly
foreign policy stuff.
Yeah,
and
he stands out. I think
I think Kennedy's doing great and all that stuff.
There's so many that are Bessler. I've been pretty impressed with. I think.
And Doug with out of North Dakota, the governor of North Dakota. What's he doing? He's not the EPA. He's
Burgum.
He's energy.
Maybe I'm trying to remember.
We'll figure it out. Let's take a phone call. We got Sandy on the phone. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning. Why in the world do you keep saying if Trump has dementia?
Oh, somebody
what's going on?
I've been trying to correct
somebody wrote it to me this morning, which I don't.
In the world?
I don't think he does. I don't. But if he does,
what good is it to keep? It's like whoever wrote you that, they must be dancing with joy.
Yeah, there's a
possibly
got that word into his head.
Possibly, possibly.
That's a good point, Sam.
But no, it's worth looking at. So I've looked at it and I say I see nothing. I don't. Where I did on Biden completely.
Yeah, and I just sometimes I wonder about us. It's like somebody mentions that and we engage in it.
Yeah.
Like, it must be possible. And it is not. My God, you watch this man. You almost get to see him 24/7.
Yes, we do.
I know that's an exaggeration, but good grief.
But I have never seen.
I agree about Marco and J.D. Vance being outstanding and the cabinet being outstanding, but I think the Democrats are just crazy.
Yes.
And I hope that we keep both the House and the Senate after the midterms and that President Trump gets a lot done.
Oh, yeah. I think you're absolutely
does not
right.
Quit. My goodness.
But we're up against, historically, it's a tough thing to do. And I think the key is to get this Iran thing wrapped up It needs to be, so we can get back to business, because a lot of the voters, they want to see stability. And right now we don't have it in the oil prices and stuff. I think Trump's doing the right thing. And I'm so proud of the fact that he's not putting politics as first. He's doing what's right first.
Well, that's what I see too. And I'm saying that it appears like doing what's right for the country may actually be good politics.
Well, in the long run.
Oh, yeah.
But I know he's worried about November too. He cares.
Well, he's got to be, but I do think it just appears to me he looks at a situation and says, what's the best thing to do? And then he doesn't let the politics have very much impact on that.
Yeah.
Well, what's really neat is on the blockade of Hormuz. I heard someone, I think I shared it with you, Russ, on one of the shows. I don't know if it was the Ingram show. I can't remember which one of the Fox shows, and was explaining how they can go after the mines, the technology we have.
Yeah.
And so they're working on that. And with this blockade, what's really cool about it is we've got these gigantic tankers coming to our ports to get our oil, which means that our guys are making some moolah like crazy.
Correct.
So, and I know, well, I don't know. President Trump is so intelligent that maybe he realized that would happen, before it happened. I don't know. But holy moly. The thing is, if we could just get those prices down, it would help. And I think he does want it to end. Now, I heard him speak yesterday, listening to these clips. So, I don't hear him right on the TV. But listening to the clips, he said that they called him and they want to negotiate again, because basically President Trump turned it around. They were trying to extort, the Iranians were trying to extort the world with this Hormuz and saying there were mines in it. President Trump turned it around, and now they don't have that leverage.
And it's not the first time they've done that. They've been this way. And Trump seems to understand them better than anybody else.
Absolutely.
Well, he's been talking about them for probably, 4 decades, almost 5 decades. You can go back and listen to him.
Oh, yeah.
So I think he does understand. And I would not be surprised, and it wouldn't bother me a bit if he decided to go in there and bomb the bridges and the power plants or whatever would be strategic.
Right.
Because if that's what's necessary, that's what he's got to do.
But he's holding off,
he's
Sandy,
trying to
and I
show
like that.
Patience.
Yeah.
He's trying to show patience and trying to use strategies like this blockade to try to show that he attempts all kinds of good things to try to avoid having to, to shoot them.
Mm-hmm.
But he will, he'll pull the trigger. So I would really like for it to be over in a week and a half and then concentrate on other things. But he's done so much good for the world and for America, obviously.
Yeah.
And it was pretty great to do that deal with the DoorDash lady. That was pretty sharp,
did you see that? That was pretty funny.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I even sent you clips. I saw like so many clips. I hope I didn't send all of them to you. But
you sent enough.
I know I'd overdo it sometimes.
That's fine.
What's really good about it is it's great advertisement for this DoorDash and McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
They must
absolutely.
be cheering.
Yeah.
And because it looks so beautiful.
You can't.
And you know what he's doing for the White House, the improvements for the White House.
Oh, I know you sent me that clip too.
Awesome.
Yeah. Did you did send me that time delay clip, didn't you? It showed the from the time it was built and then all the.
Oh yes.
That was so great. It shows the changes. Yeah.
Oh, the changes are, the thing is, there's been changes historically.
Oh, yeah, constant.
Okay, so the comments by the Democrats, we're going to tear it down, once he's out of office. The Democrats are crazy.
Yeah.
They don't have any good policies, and all they do is attack. Oh, I know what else I was going to talk about. That reminds me. The Democrats are pretty terrible people, and so are the media. So, but they fess up yesterday. Oh, yeah, we knew all about Swalwell.
Yes.
We just didn't want to report on it.
I know, that's outrageous, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, listen to this, though I cannot remember who I heard it from, but I heard it at least 3 times yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And you already know I don't like Senator Gallego,
so
I'm fessing up to that.
There's more reasons
but I
now.
heard at least 3 times he's real good buddies with Swalwell, and he likes to go on these little junkets with Swalwell. And may very well have engaged in the same behavior.
It's more like
and I'm
best
using
friend.
may very well, so I don't cause your show any trouble.
Swalwell calls him his best friend.
Oh yeah, he was his campaign.
Yes,
he
manager.
was going to be his manager or something for his campaign
when he ran for president in 2019. Correct.
So don't we really choose winners in our state?
No,
boy, we are so good. We can't have. What was the lady's name that was running against him? I can't believe I can't remember her name
it escapes me. Carrie Lake.
Yes.
Yes, we can't have Carrie Lake because she acts too snooty. Oh my goodness, we can't have snooty people.
Yeah, well,
I wish Gilbert could hear that.
Yeah.
I'm never going to forgive Gilbert or the other guy that cheered in on that day where they were beating you up about Carrie Lake.
Uh-huh.
All because she's too snooty. Oh my goodness! Now they didn't use the word snooty, but I think snooty is a good word for what they did. So, but we choose this guy who lies to everybody, and. He hasn't done anything right for the state. Mark Kelly is really bad too. He's talking anti-white for some reason, so God dang it. And then I see Katie Hobbs come around down to Yuma, to campaign. I wonder if she'd been down to Yuma much before that.
She has. She's been down a few times. But I don't go see her. I don't go see her.
No, I don't either. either. Unfortunately, the media puts her out. But
anyway, they have to. She's the governor.
I know.
Sandy, we have about 7.5 months until the midterms.
Yeah,
and you saw how quickly oil price dropped when they announced a ceasefire for a little bit. So I think if this is resolved within 5 or 6 months, we'll be fine.
We hope so.
Well, what else happened yesterday is I think it was yesterday, just because of Trump's strategy of the blockade, something good happened with the stock market. So people must be looking at it, that was a really good move. So I just think that sometimes the oil goes down on the markets, but it's not reflected at the gas stations.
Well,
Why is that?
It takes
Why
time.
is there such a delay?
Well, you buy oil today. It's not in you don't have it yet. It takes time to deliver that oil to the refineries. It takes time to refine it. It takes time to ship it back out. By the time they buy in the cheaper oil, you're not going to see it at the pumps for months.
Well, and I don't know if it necessarily be months, but the fact is that these gas stations operate on very slim margins. And a lot of them make their money on the convenience store stuff, and they make almost no money on the gas.
No, they make money, but you're right. It's not a big percentage, but there is money to be made.
When the prices are low, and they go up, it's like the gas stations immediately change their prices to the fact that it's going up on the, out in the market.
Yeah, they're anticipating
more.
Well, they anticipate, plus whatever's in the ground, they may have paid less for it, what's in their tanks, but they know their next shipment coming in is going to be high. So their replacement costs, they start charging according to replacement costs at that point. And
I understand that, but it just seems exceedingly unfair. As you pointed out wisely, they've got they've still got that higher price gas, but when it's the reverse, you know, not the same effect. So I was being ornery there.
You can be ornery. That's fine.
Very
to make
competitive.
it clear, I was being ornery.
Yeah.
So
it's a very competitive.
Anyway, you guys have a great day.
Thank you, Sandy.
We've got an outstanding president. He is the best president I've ever seen. I think he's way better even than who used to be my best president, which was Reagan.
Right.
And I really think President Trump beats Reagan and everybody else, obviously. So,
well, Reagan was the initial one that has "Make America Great Again." That was his slogan.
I believe that, and I think Bill Clinton even had that slogan. But oh my goodness, we must be white supremacists if we have it with President Trump. And Sandy must be a white supremacist because she supports President Trump. I mean, I'm telling you, they are crazy. That was, I think if we could get people to understand that, but then the people that are following them are crazy too. So I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't make any difference.
A lot of crazy to go around, Sandy.
Yes, there is.
I agree.
Thank you, man.
Well, you guys have a great day.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
My listener this morning said the world and significant portion of Americans don't agree with Sandy that Trump is doing good for the world. I would say there's more people in the world that think he's doing good for the world than in America as a percentage.
Don't know. I mean, so much as what coverage are they getting? What news are they getting?
Well, and I saw some reporters on that are over there in the eastern countries that are affected by Iran. They hate Iran.
Absolutely. I think
and I'm talking other Muslim countries.
Yeah,
Saudi
absolutely.
Arabia, Yemen.
I agree, but
well, that's where the
Houthis
look
are. At the news is very controlled in China, which is 1.4 billion people, I think.
But
almost, and then in Russia, another 200 million.
Russia and China are going to try to support Iran because enemy thy enemy, but stuff.
Exactly. So I think that there are quite a few. I think a lot of people in Europe are supportive of President Trump because
they are.
Essentially, Iran used the Strait of Hormuz as almost like a dagger at the throat of Europe.
And at the same time, a lot of the leadership, like Spain, said you can't use runways. Italy can't use runways. France can't use runways. Now, my understanding, and Trump has talked about it, and he hasn't given names yet, a lot of countries, I know UK is one of them, have completely flipped, and they're coming to help with the blockade. He hasn't said he has it would other than
I heard of some of that.
UK has announced it that they're going.
Okay, because I thought I just saw a headline yesterday saying we will not.
No, the UK is going to help, and there's others now, and that have are going to pitch in and come in and help. And Trump, he was a little cranky and said, "I don't want your help." But it's good to have everybody involved because it just. I think it helps show Iran you don't have a way out of this.
Well, I think so. And the people who have the most to lose at the Strait are both people in the Far East and Europe. Those are the two.
And China. China has already.
I think China qualifies as Far East.
Okay. Well, I try to keep them separate because they're so big, I guess. I give them their own headline.
Japan gets a lot of oil through the Strait.
China has already chimed in on, I think within an hour or two after the Strait was barricaded by the United States, by Trump. They came in and says, you can't hold our ship. It's in international waters. You can't hold our ship. And they need it through. I was like, the confrontation's already going on about they don't want to comply. I don't know what's going to come of that.
I don't know, but I see what Trump's doing. He's saying, we're not going to let Iran control the Strait. If they're not letting most of the ships,
we're not going to let any.
Then we're not going to let any ships go through.
Right,
because they're using it selectively.
And my understanding is from listening to people like Jack Keane and some of the others, General Jack Keane and some of the others that are involved in these things, that this is the first time anybody's ever gotten Iran's attention. Because every time they've ever threatened and done stuff before, the West caves just to bring peace at any cost, even if it's giving them opportunities to build nuclear or something like that. And it says, in fact, it was, I think it was General Keane. It says, they're legitimately scared. They don't
Well,
know
they
what
should be.
they don't know what Trump's going to do.
Yeah, that's one of the beauties of Trump as a military commander. And it's very important in the military that your opponent not know precisely what you're going to do.
Right. Well, they Iran and they keep mentioning, and Jack Keane and others mention that Iran's smart. They know how we act. They know that politically they can outlast us and all that.
Well,
stuff.
I'm not so sure that's
they
true.
have in the past, based on history.
In the past, but that's not today. I mean, and there's a big chunk of Iranian leadership that did not outlast us because they're dead. Well,
yeah, and I think the leaders currently don't know that they want to go to the fourth generation.
Yeah,
of leaders.
I mean, this is where Trump has demonstrated that there is such a disparity of force between the United States and Iran that we can destroy them. You know, we can really bring them back almost to the Stone Age. Well, maybe to 1900 tech or something like that. But what I see is that President Trump doesn't want to do that to the people
he's mentioned that.
Of Iran.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think, you know, and I've heard, I haven't got a lot of confirmation on that he has been supplying arms to some of the people that would.
Almost certainly there have been
fight against that.
And we see on some border areas at 2C TV, I see some
that have been abandoned.
Well, evidence that there are some of the checkpoints banned by the regime are being attacked, and you know, they can't count on.
And that's all internal. That's not attacked by
internal. That's exactly
internal
what
attacks.
I'm saying. So
like
some of that is going on, and we know that, or at least we have a pretty good idea that there are rifts inside the Iranian theocracy, and that, you know, there's disagreements. What should we do? How should we do it? How should we react?
You don't hear a lot of it in the news.
No.
Yet, and Tusi is one of the best suppliers of that information.
I think he is.
But Jack Keane has said same thing, that there's internal.
And of course, that's one of the things that the strategy that Trump is employing is designed to do, is that you fracture the system,
right,
because by attacking the communication links and the leadership,
wow,
and then you find a faction. One of those factions is going to be willing to deal with you.
And now he's being patient and watching, see what's happening.
Yeah,
and we don't know,
keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, but if he destroys a lot of infrastructure, that's going to
it takes
it's going to take it out of the hands of the people that may be taking over.
I think that Trump,
if that's possible, is
a builder in general, and he doesn't like to just destroy stuff because he knows what it costs to make. And he doesn't. So I'm just, and I think the people in Iran may see this too. The problem is they don't have a lot of sources of information, so it's hard to know what percentage of the people are against the war. Or it's probably a majority, but it's hard to know.
I'm going to change subjects just for a minute, and I'll get back to some of this because it's interesting. But my fact checker Edward is active.
Okay,
today. You know, he'd been out of town for a while. He's been around. You know, kind of messed some of his sarcasm and stuff. But a couple things he sent me. The first one I want to mention, he said the Standard & Poor's, the S&P 500, has made back all of its Iran war losses. So some investors feel comfortable that it's time to get back to investing. But he writes something about Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders, independent, who caucuses with the Democrats and widely viewed as a power broker within the party. He outlined a new set of political messaging priorities, according to what he sees as priorities for the Democrat Party. And the agenda include the following. Number one, a wealth tax of 5% on individuals with an estimated net worth exceeding $500 million. Wow. Assessed once per decade. Which California, is doing that right now. And of course, California would be pushing that because right now they're losing all their billionaires, or not all of them. They're losing some billionaires.
Yeah.
Because they want to get out of there and not have to do that kind of stupid.
Right.
This would make there'd be no state to go to if every state did it.
Well, there's maybe Switzerland or the Cayman Islands, or
Oh, that's right. You go out of country. A pathway to citizenship for all individuals currently in the United States, as well as for future entrants, with the traditional citizenship test replaced by a simplified oath centered on service to humanity.
Oh,
wow.
I don't think that's a popular position.
No. So anybody who wants to be a citizen can.
Wow.
Yeah. An additional sales tax of 6% applied to all goods and services with the exemptions for individuals receiving government assistance. So that would be.
So when you sell your house.
Yeah. That would be a federal sales tax of 6%.
On all goods.
On services. Everything.
Yeah. Food.
This guy's lost his mind. But then they would have a lot of money to play with.
Well,
look at all the good things they could do.
I imagine that if they put those into effect, first off, they're self-limiting. People will figure out ways around them.
Yeah, that's correct.
Even if they put those in effect, it will not cover the deficit.
Nope. They would probably increase the deficit.
Yeah, probably, because they're going to be significant spending programs.
There'd be people hiding money, legally just getting offshore, doing whatever.
Sure, absolutely.
The dissolution of political organizations that do not align with a broader mandate for national unity and reconciliation.
Whoa.
Wow, that is so dangerous. That's
basically authoritarian, totalitarian.
Yes, it is.
If we disagree with you, we're going to outlaw you.
Because you're not good for national unity.
Yeah.
Because you didn't agree with me.
Because you didn't agree with us, right? Wow.
Man, that's the most dangerous.
Yeah, I would say, well, it's extremely dangerous. It's saying once we get in charge, we're never letting go.
Yeah, then we'll do like other countries. We'll have a re-education place for you.
Yeah.
Like in China. We're going to have you re-educated. We'll take you away.
Because if you don't agree with us, you're obviously
bad,
poorly educated, or you might even be insane.
Wow. The phase out and elimination of all gasoline and diesel powered vehicles and equipment by the year 2035. That's ridiculous. In less than 10 years, you're going to get rid of every diesel and gas vehicle.
That's absolutely nuts. It's insane.
The implementation of a nationwide residential size restriction governing private housing.
Oh, well,
so you can't have a big house.
That's what they're saying.
Wow. Well, I guess Bernie's already owns 7 of his. I don't know how many's at. What does he have? Three houses?
3 is the last I heard.
I'll bet there's too big for what he's suggesting.
I don't know.
That's for the little people.
Yeah. There might be exemptions for Congress critters.
And he's only got 7. This is the 7th one. It's another tax. A 4.5% green tax. A value-added tax on all purchases intended to fund large-scale solar energy development.
So he's added a 6% sales tax on
and then another 4.5,
and another 4.2 or 4.5.
And if
that's 10.5.
Unless you have more than $500,000 in net worth, and then there's a 5% on
your worth, not on
worth
income.
On top of that, once every 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow, this guy's going to pay off the national debt in 1 year. I guess he's trying to buy it back in 1 year.
There's no way the taxes would not.
All those ideas are ridiculous. And the most dangerous one is the censorship.
Yeah, don't agree with us, we'll outlaw you.
Yeah, we've got to get rid of the parties that don't agree with us for national security.
Yeah.
Gosh, whenever they say national security, I get worried.
Yes, you should.
It could be. I think Sandy mentioned that the talks might go on, and I did have a story on that they're talking as early as Thursday. That's like in 2 days. The officials familiar with the matter, I guess, say that the 6-week war, which the ceasefire will end April 21st. So they got to get something done before April 21st because that's the end of the ceasefire. And Trump seems to be holding to it, even though there would be good reason for him not to, because they've broken all the agreements.
Well, you have to look at these things and say who is benefiting. And I think that both sides believe that they're benefiting from the ceasefire.
I would imagine.
I mean, on the Iranian side, I would say on the theocracy side, they have to be in terrible condition. They're trying to reestablish lines of communications, trying to get some kind of centrality of command, which they probably don't have. It's fractured right now. So if they don't have bombs dropping on them, that's easier to do.
I would imagine they're trying to resupply. I mean, there's been rumors that China's trying to sell some man pads or the anti-aircraft stuff to them and get those in country.
They're probably going to get some of the smaller stuff.
Yeah, you can't You can't really,
because they do have, I think, the Caspian Sea to the north. There's a connection to Russia there, and stuff could come, by rail into Russia from China, and then
and they're
down. But we're going to be watching those ports, and the rail lines.
But food's coming in, emergency supplies are coming in, all that kind of stuff, and man pads could be mixed into that.
Yeah,
stuff,
right. You're going to some stuff, but I don't see major systems. It's unlikely they'll be able to get them in. They won't be able to replace their Air Force, the Navy, any of the larger installations. Probably. I mean, they might be able to dig out some and cobble together some, but it's just a small fraction of what they had before.
And supposedly all of their factories that were building missiles and stuff are all destroyed. They don't have ability to replenish those. I know they have some left.
I know they attacked a refinery that was known to be making rocket fuel, things like that.
Yeah.
So yes, they're in a very difficult position. And I think it's, as you said, they're hoping if they can just hang on, the West will cave.
Right.
But I think President Trump is made of stiffer stuff than that. And he doesn't have to worry about getting reelected,
I know. But I think he cares about this upcoming election. I think
he does cares. Because it would give him more ability. If he can, if the House is lost,
he'll be fighting an impeachment every 6 months.
It'll be much harder for him to get anything done.
Right. Yeah, one of the listeners says, the Iranians have learned from the North Koreans and the North Vietnamese to just wait us out. And that's always been the case. I mean, Vietnam was 19 years.
Well,
and they lost every battle.
Well, I've heard that they didn't lose every battle. But
that's the mantra here.
Yes, you hear that. I think there's so much difference in those cases. For one, you have Russia is mired in the Ukrainian war and just doesn't have much ability to do much to help Iran.
No.
And China, that's a long ways away, and it's difficult for them unless it's by ship, and we have blockaded the Strait of Hormuz. So how do they get supplies to Iran?
China seems to be a little more careful to me.
I think they are.
China first. I mean, and them getting involved in this isn't necessarily going to help them.
Well, I think they've seen what happened in Venezuela. They've seen what goes on in Ukraine. They've seen what we did in Iran, and they're saying there are capabilities there that we could not overcome if we tried to take Taiwan.
We apparently beat their best anti-aircraft equipment.
So they're worried about that.
Yeah,
and they should be. And then also I've seen reports, and it's really hard to know what's going on in China for a fact, but they seem to have some economic problems.
Yeah.
And I'd read one group claiming, they got 6 months reserves of oil all stocked up. And then I read another report that said that a hacker had broken in and they'd gotten, information from inside the Communist Party files, and they didn't have anything stocked up. So who knows what's true there?
It's hard to say.
But they do still rely on imported oil for a significant chunk of manufacturing, chemicals, transportation, airline fuel, that kind of thing.
Iran has got to go ahead and send a national team to compete at the World Cup in the United States.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting. They don't like us very much. In fact, they requested that that they play in Mexico. And they were denied. By the organization, because it's played in Los Angeles. So.
It's interesting because we don't have a formal declaration of war.
No.
That's kind of an interesting thing that they would send athletes to compete. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. Maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's probably it. It's coming in June. The World Cup's coming in June. You going to go?
I wasn't intending to.
No, I wasn't either. I know the whole world's a fan of the World Cup.
Yes, they are.
Me, not so much. But they're scheduled to play in the United States, which will be interesting. Energy bank groups, I guess there's people that specialize at international energy agencies, and the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank Group warned that fuel and fertilizer prices will remain high even if the Strait of Hormuz reopens. The group says that the impact of the war is substantial, global, and highly systemic, disproportionately affecting energy importers, in particularly low-income countries. The shock has led to higher oil, gas, and fertilizer prices, triggering concerns about food security and job losses as well. Some oil and gas producers in the Middle East have also seen a dramatic loss in export revenue. Situation remains very uncertain, and shipping through the Strait of Hormuz is yet to be normalized. Even after resumption of regular shipping flows through the strait, it will take time for global supplies of key commodities to move back towards their pre-conflict levels, and fuel and fertilizer prices may remain high for a prolonged period given the damage to infrastructure. Now, see, they're just not telling me what I want to hear.
Well, there's a lot of ifs and maybes in that. I mean, we don't know. I think it's pretty clear it's going to take time.
Yeah.
But does it take a week or 2 months?
Hopefully,
hard to know.
Hopefully 2 months. I don't know. Hard to say, but
I mean, you're going to see an impact on markets, as we saw. Once the strait opens up, fuel prices are going to drop immediately. That's what happened already.
Yeah.
But it'll take a while. In the meantime, you have people, because prices are high now, they're putting money into gas that they could be putting into other things. So I actually have faith. The way this campaign has worked out, it appears to me to be brilliantly planned. And I'm sure that they've war gamed several different avenues. What happens if they do this? What happens if they do that? How do we respond?
They're playing those games all the time, like they do in
Exactly.
Yuma twice a year in Yuma.
All the time.
WTI, but it's what they do.
It's what the military does. It's one of the big things they do is figure out contingencies and how to counter different moves at different times.
I listened to a report this morning about the military, about what it was like pre-Trump and now that Trump is back in. You know, they had a hard time getting recruiting numbers. They kept putting down their requirements in order to get closer to it, but they couldn't make that. And they said that the Biden administration, during the Biden administration, they would keep coming out with excuses.
Right.
Like so many gang members, people overweight, people out of shape.
Right.
Those kind of things can't get them. But yet, as soon as Hegseth got in.
Yeah, they didn't have any trouble recruiting.
No troubles. They all came in.
Turning people away.
So all of their excuses were just that. And the thing is that they're now joining the military. That makes sense to them. That they're going to fight wars. They're going to take care of stuff.
Right.
It's not a social DEI club.
I think one of the most brilliant recruiting techniques they put out was renaming the Department of Defense.
Yeah, it's a Department of War.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll bet you if they get a Democrat president, though, that's one of the first things they'll change. They don't like that.
It will. If the Congress can change the name and make it permanent.
I don't know that it's official on the Department of War. I don't think it ever went through Congress. That was just Trump.
It's just a Trump executive order right now.
Yeah.
So to make it permanent, or semi-permanent, you'd have to have the Congress change. And if they hold on to the House and Senate, we may see that in the midterms. I'm saying.
Wow, that's going to be a tough deal. I mean, it can happen. But man, so many things are going to play right.
I remember there was a bulletin board in the post office in the little town I grew up. It's still there. At least it was there 5 years ago, the last time I looked. And it's in the post office, and it's kind of got a nice wood frame and everything. And in gilt letters at the top, it said Department of War.
Oh.
So it was there. It was pre-world, roughly about World War II lineage on.
Right.
And nobody had bothered to change it.
Leave it.
I thought that was cool.
Now it's in style again.
I'm pretty sure I have a picture of it somewhere. I have to dig through a bunch of
files. I read you the things from the breakfast that Sanders had. His points.
How were they received?
Well, Edward says on top of that, they did not serve bacon at breakfast. That's an issue for national unity. I guess he's a bacon fan, right?
Okay. What I hear him saying is that they ought to have bacon there.
I wonder if Edward went for the for the breakfast.
I have no idea.
He probably went for the breakfast. And maybe but that information is shocking. It's just hard to believe they would even put that stuff out. How much of that is nationally popular?
Very little. Very little. I'm trying to think of any of it that would be popular. I don't think there's any one of those points that would gain over 50% popularity.
No.
And I think several of them are going to be down in the 20s.
Yeah. Yeah. The most popular ones would probably be the taxes on the wealthy, because there's not a big population that makes that $500,000 a year. So we're so short-sighted. We say, yeah, just those guys don't need that much money. That'll destroy us if we attack.
Well, it won't end there.
We attack wealth.
First off,
we'll move offshore.
You can always, and we have been doing it for decades, you can always spend more than you make.
Always.
And the only thing that keeps the U.S. from going bankrupt is we have printing presses, and we can create money out of digital strokes, keystrokes. And as long as productivity helps keep things afloat, and when the U.S. dollar is the reserve currency, it's kept us going. But we spend way too much more than we make, and the deficit keeps growing. I think wasn't it the last I heard that just the interest on the debt now exceeds the Department of Defense.
Department of War.
Department of War.
Yeah. Don't get it wrong. Trump will come down here and correct you.
I like the name Department of War.
The Edward said that the crowd cheered when they gave out these positions.
Interesting.
And it's a Sanders meeting. Sanders.
I thought maybe it was the whole DNC.
No, it was Sanders on pointing out the agenda that.
Yeah, well, if it's his supporters, I'm not surprised that they cheer.
He says, and it's all New York City's mayor's positions, which it is, man, Donnie. And he's been amazing. Amazing that he's doing these things. It's crippling, and he's coming out saying how wonderful it's working.
Yeah.
As if he says it enough, it's gonna be true.
Well, that's what they said in the Soviet Union and Communist China. They always tell you how wonderful things are when you don't have enough to eat and you have to scrounge for a gallon of gas or a few candles to light your house. The one of the major things that's so hard, and I think it's getting easier for Americans to understand, is they lie all the time.
Yes.
Telling the truth is not something they value. The question is, does it advance the goals of the party or not?
That's a sad way to look at it. But
I think that's true. And for politicians in general, it's a problem because politicians particularly want to tell people what they want to hear, so they'll vote for them. But in today's fractured partisan media, where we've got all kinds of pundits all over the place with all kinds of different mediums, we don't have the ability to lie and get away with it like we used to. I'm speaking figuratively of politicians,
right?
Or people in the media too.
Cameras and microphones are everywhere, and they're there forever. They have these images of Swalwell from years ago, and more recently, and all kinds of stuff. So I think the people on the left are much more used to being able to get away with things because the media used to cover for them. Well, they still do,
and they still do, but that's
not all media.
It's not as protective as it used to be.
Since you mentioned Swalwell, I'll bring it up. Apparently, this Swalwell, because he's involved with all these women now, we're finding out, or at least alleged.
Has been, yeah. Well, that's right, alleged.
And some videos, like you say, are coming out. One of these videos are him with some lady of the evening or something, misusing her.
All I could tell, she's a woman.
And it was a room full of guys there, and they're saying that they think it might be Ruben Gallego is one of them. At least that's
if it's the same video I'm thinking about, there were at least two women, at least two or three, two guys, and a couple other people that couldn't be sure because you just saw little flashes.
Gallego has denied that it's him in that video, so it's already got back to him. That looks like Gallego. They're saying it's not me, and he's now and he's been described by Eric Swalwell as his best friend and has been for much time. Yeah. But now they're spend a lot of time together, but apparently not in that activity. That's according to Gallego. He's trying to stay clear.
I looked at that video. I didn't see anything that I would call pornographic or even too graphic. I mean, it looked like he was, pushing for an open mouth kiss from this woman that I couldn't identify.
Yeah.
Well, that's hardly,
well,
really
we saw,
except he is married.
We saw a small clip.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know what
could
all
be
was.
More.
We don't know what was involved in it. But I wonder how much Gallego is involved. And there's a lot of people now that says, I've seen some videos.
A lot of cameras out there
that have said he's next, which I don't know if that's true, because no one's come forward with anything yet.
It's possible.
It is possible. Swalwell, though, it's just amazing how quickly it happened from. He was a darling for the left, supported by the left. Everybody loved him. Nancy Pelosi gave him prominence and stuff, brought him in
spite of the multiple cases where he's clearly lied over and over and over again for political reasons. And the left and the media covered up for him until it became inconvenient.
And it's like flipping a switch and everybody went away.
Yeah, suddenly they'd say, "Oh, it would be really good. We need somebody to drop out of this governor's race." Oh, Swalwell, that's him.
Well, now he's resigning Congress too. He's dropping out of the race. He's resigning Congress. I guess he knows the jig's up.
Yeah, if he gets out now, maybe he gets to hang on to more cash than otherwise.
I read that it was Nancy Pelosi that came to him, said it's up.
Well, and she has made public statements about it.
But Nancy Pelosi kind of made him. She's the one that grabbed him and put him into some leadership stuff.
Yeah.
I guess she can destroy it, take it back.
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
But he made his first debate in 2019 when he challenged Joe Biden to the presidency, and he challenged Joe Biden, asked him to pass the torch, and he said that during the debate, and that was a quote from Joe Biden. At one time when Joe was younger, about passing the torch and all that kind of stuff, and saying that the incumbent was too old and out of touch, and it was time to give away to the next generation. Well, during a commercial, Joe came over to him, grabbed Eric by both lapels, said to him, "Nice try. I'm not going anywhere." And then Eric dropped out.
That's not good behavior.
No, but it's got to be on.
I wonder if it's on tape somewhere.
It would have to be.
It'd be a great thing to have on tape.
It would have to be. I mean, it's during the debate. It just went to commercial, but they don't necessarily turn those cameras on.
I mean, if somebody grabs you by the lapels, that's an assault.
I can't remember the last time I did that. I know, like never.
Yeah.
But Eric dropped out just a few days after that.
Okay.
Well, I don't remember any of that. I was just reading it. But apparently it was Pelosi that kind of helped him and put him in stuff.
Well, they're both from California. Pelosi had a lot of power inside California. So, I mean, it makes sense that she would have a large influence on his career. Do
you remember Andrew Yang, who ran for president at the same time with Eric Swalwell? He ran.
Yeah,
but
I remember the name anyway.
Yang's from New York, I think. He's from New York. But he adds to this article and says that Swalwell's a lightweight. He's not an intellect or deep policy thinker. And running for higher office, and particularly the president candidates, must have vision, intelligence, confidence, conviction, communication ability, charisma, and maybe even morality or principle. However, Swalwell has none of these.
Well, that's an interesting. It's a pretty statement, but I don't know it's factually correct.
I'm just telling you his opinion.
Must, and we've seen. We've had presidents that don't exhibit that. I think Biden is a very clear example.
Yang's allowed to have that opinion. It's just interesting. It's coming from a another Democrat, part of that. And the turn on him has been so quick.
It has. I was like flipping a switch. Really
so there must
amazing.
be something. There must be something substantial that they already knew about.
Well, I think they've known about substantial things for decades.
Yeah.
What I think happened is they needed to thin the herd because they're afraid that the two Republican candidates in the California jungle primary will be the two ones chosen, and then they'll end up with a Republican governor.
Maybe. Hope so. Yang said Swalwell, he knows Swalwell, but not super close, describes Swalwell as way over his head when running for president. And he said Swalwell's sexual improprieties were an open secret within D.C. and California circles.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they knew.
Open secret. It's been known for a long time.
I sometimes think that some of those other figures from my presidential primary class many of whom I've lost, I'm loosely in touch with. I feel like Eric is Icarus from the Greek myths. He flew too close to the sun. Now he's crashed to Earth.
Yeah, okay. But that's...
He also mentions...
It's Democrats that have brought him down.
Yes, it was. Not the Republicans. He even mentions his best friend in the world, Ruben Gallego, longtime friend. Now he's even forced him to walk away. Gallego's now disowning him.
Well, yeah,
at least verbally,
and that's not uncommon.
Yeah.
You know, try to avoid the fallout. Get away from this disaster as quick as you can.
Right. You see, a man was shot by ICE in California. I think this was a while ago, but Patrick Kolesnik, the attorney for Carlos Ivan Mendoza Hernandez, who was shot, was talking about it just on so he was speaking at a news conference on Wednesday, April 8th, but I guess he's got a lawyer, so he must be upset that he got shot. But he was picked up by customs agents after he was released by FBI after being arrested Monday by the FBI after being discharged from a hospital. He underwent 3 surgeries for multiple gunshot wounds, was discharged into FBI custody without any notification to his family or legal team. Do you have to have notification?
Well, if you have a lawyer, you have a right to have a lawyer.
Yeah.
So I would think that your lawyer you have to notify.
But I mean, to be
picked
picked up, you don't have to
get a hold of you.
Do you have to notify? Do you have to notify the lawyer?
Was he arrested? Was this an arrest?
Well, they said they picked him up. I would assume he's in FBI custody.
Sounds like an arrest to me.
Well, the lawyer says we're in shock. He should not be out of that hospital. He has no condition to be released. Well, the FBI didn't release him. It would be the doctors that release him.
Right.
But
it's, having dealt with this type of thing a little bit, it's amazing that you don't have, you have a phone call when you're arrested, but you better know somebody who's going to answer the phone. And he already had an attorney. So I would presume that he would get the attorney and tell him something's happening. I don't know where I'm going. They're taking me somewhere. I'm in the custody of the FBI, something like that. You're not supposed to just hold people incognito in the United States without any contact to legal stuff. But when you're first arrested, that can take a while, can take hours and maybe even up to, I think, 24 hours. I think that's the limit that's now been set.
ICE agents apparently fired a defensive shot at him, Mendoza, when he tried to drive into them after he was pulled over late Tuesday. Officials said they were conducting an enforcement stop on Mendoza in Patterson, city about 75 miles southeast of San Francisco. They described him as a gang member wanted in El Salvador for questioning in connection with a murder. The lawyer reported that Mendoza was having difficulty speaking because he was shot in the jaw.
Yeah,
that sounds
makes sense.
That sounds painful.
Well, so he was wounded. Was it just the jaw? Were there multiple wounds? What's going on?
It just says jaw. But he insisted he's never a member of a gang. His client has been stopped for minor traffic infractions but no criminal record in the U.S. and not the subject of an arrest warrant in El Salvador. An arrest warrant, that's key. Department of Homeland Security says he's wanted for questioning.
Yeah.
And he was acquitted of murder, which I guess he's been charged.
So apparently, it sounds as if he was not obeying directions to stop, and that's when they shot him.
And it's all on dash cam footage.
Yeah.
They show that he's on the side of the road with officers around the car. He turns the wheel to try to get back onto the median and steers at that. Okay. So they shot him. And I guess after getting shot in the jaw, he gave up.
Yeah, that was a better move.
He backed up, even hit the vehicle behind him when he backed up. So he backed up, hit the vehicle, and then pulled forward. And it's a good way to get hurt.
It is, and it sounds like he got hurt pretty seriously.
While he was backing the vehicle up, they say at least 2 of the agents had weapons drawn at that point, which I guess would be normal. As soon as you see the vehicle start.
They've been telling him, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out, and he's not getting out of the car. So he's not following instructions, and that means he's much more potentially a danger than if he would comply with what the officers are telling him to do.
It says the driver then pulls forward toward the man where the men are standing, which, in other words, you pull forward right at him and turns sharply, driving over the roadway median. And shots were fired. It says shots were fired.
Yeah.
He's a dual citizenship of El Salvador and Mexico, came to the United States in 2019, but the attorney did not know his legal status. Right. I'm sure he wouldn't have done that research. That means he's not going to tell you.
Yeah. I mean, I could see where an attorney would start looking and say, I don't like where this is going. I'm not going to look any further into this. I mean, that's one of the things. It's a technique that an attorney will do because the attorney doesn't want to lie directly if they can avoid it.
Right. Well, he says that his client's in pain.
Well, you get shot in the jaw. I expect you to be in pain.
And he's got a 2-year-old daughter that's an American citizen.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess he's going to claim that daughter now.
Well,
if he hadn't already.
I don't know what the situation was before, so I can't comment on that. But, that's one of the motivators for people to have children in the U.S. is because then the children become citizens and they have a little more leverage to try to stay in the country.
Edward has a hypothesis on why they went after Swalwell. The Democrats want the Texas Republican who had the affair with his staffer who then killed herself to resign.
He's doing that.
Is he going to resign?
I read that he said he was going to resign. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that worked then. Eric didn't need to resign after all.
And it's interesting because...
Oh, no. Edward wrote that. After Eric resigned, the Republican left as well.
Yeah.
They had to push Eric out of Congress to get the Texas seat out.
I
don't know if that's true, but that's
know.
Edward's thinking.
I know that the person who was running against Gonzalez, that's the representative from, I think it's District 23 in Texas, as I recall, had beat him in the primary by a bit. There were like 4 people or more running, and he'd gotten a little bit more, but not quite 50%.
Yeah.
And so then there were calls. They were investigating Gonzalez in the House, and calls for him to drop out of the primary race, which he did. So he was not going to be a representative in the next Congress anyway.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah.
So, but interestingly enough, the person who is the Republican in the primary is a very pro Second Amendment guy. He's a YouTuber, and I think he's called the AK guy on YouTube, and he's got over 1 million followers.
Didn't they say something about having a special election, even though it's so close? That I don't know how you can have one that quickly.
That's the thing. I think it's too close to have a special election. So where I'm getting to is that Governor Abbott will appoint somebody to take Gonzalez's place. And it's only a few months. But then is that person going to try to run? I mean, he can't. I don't think he's never got into the primary, if you see what I'm saying. I don't see he would be able to get on the ballot. If I were Abbott, I would appoint the person who won the primary
as Congress
into the seat, and that tends to make it a done deal. It makes it more likely that he'll win. It's about a 60% Republican district.
Well, I just looked it up real quick, and it says they are going to have a special election.
Oh, they are
for the 23rd for the district that was left by Tony Gonzalez.
So what?
And it's going to be before the 26 House elections. Well, they got to get it done like now.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not much time. I mean, the primary is coming up pretty soon.
The winner will serve in the United States House of Representatives for the remainder of the 119th United States Congress.
Do they mention who the candidate is?
No, that's all I got on that article.
On the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember right off. And like I said, I would take that. And this is the second time he's run for that seat, by the way. And he came very close to beating Gonzalez in the primary last time. It was like just a few thousand difference.
Edward put out there that under Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution, vacancies in the House must be filled by election, not by appointment.
You could be done by appointment.
No.
Oh, really?
Not according to the Constitution. The Senate is.
Okay, well, I'm corrected then.
Yeah, I like when that happens.
So when are they going to have this election? It's only 7.5 months.
They got to do it like right now. It says when a vacancy happens, the state's executive authority, the governor, issues a writ of election.
So I wonder
how fast can they do that?
I wonder what you have to do to qualify.
I mean, they're both going to be going on about the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're already in the primary for the.
Right. I mean, that's coming up fairly soon. If I were, and I'm not Governor Abbott, but if I were, I'd say, well, let's just try to make the election about the same time as primary.
Well, they effectively don't have one.
Well, and then just have the people that are running in the primary, they'd be the candidates. I don't know what you have to do. I'm sure there are statutes that cover what you have to do in a special election. You probably have to gather signatures, something like that.
I'm sure we'll figure it out. Now, you've heard stories, I'm sure. I mean, I hear from politicians and stuff that ICE is so terrible that they're arresting citizens.
Well,
I mean, you've heard that rhetoric.
I have, and a couple of weeks ago, I looked into this, and John Lott had done a study on how many mistakes are made by ICE compared to the mistakes that were made during the Biden administration.
Oh, and
it turned out that ICE was making about 1/3 as many mistakes under President Trump as they were under Biden.
It seems like 3 times as many, though.
Yes,
because of the press. I mean, they're just trying to.
Well, I mean, it was 3 times as many under the Biden administration.
Well, yeah, under the Biden, but I mean, it seems like it's flipped. It's the other way because of the press, the way they're handling it.
It shows you the power of the old media to shape the narrative and our perceptions.
Well, I've got a story here where a lady claimed that she was detained for 30 hours. Now she's a U.S. citizen, along as others. Claims she was detained for 30 hours and taken to jail.
Yeah, I read that.
Taken to jail, and unfortunately for her, there's videotapes everywhere.
Yeah, and they have records of her being in a spa during that period.
Yeah, this lady's name is Sunny Nuckvi. She said in March, she and some co-workers were held for over 30 hours despite being U.S. citizens and got nationwide coverage from sympathetic news outlets. So they jumped all over it. She's a 28-year-old. She claims she arrived at O'Hare Airport in Chicago from Turkey on a work trip and was transported to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Broadview and was also taken to the Dodge County Jail in Wisconsin. Now, the Democratic Cook County Commissioner, Kevin Morrison, a friend of the family and a critic of the president's immigration policies, amplified story. You know, he was at the microphone screaming and yelling the atrocities of ICE and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it turns out that it's all wrong, right?
It was a lie. Kevin said, I don't think they want to own up to the fact that once again, they have illegally detained American citizens without due process. And see, that's why we hear it, because we hear these guys saying that crap all the time, which I'm always interested in facts, like give me a name of one. Well, here's a name of one. I said, her story seemed to begin falling apart after the multinational software company she claimed to work for reportedly said she was not an employee and that none of its workers had been detained at O'Hare. I guess that's a first sign, right?
First sign that, yeah, okay, well, you're lying about this. What else are you lying about?
So the county sheriff, the Dodge County Sheriff, Dale Schmidt, he filed a defamation lawsuit against her, which I think is excellent. And he said that Nuckvi, as well as Morrison, did both of them and explained the evidence that contradicted their claims, showed a video of it and everything. They have not been supported by any verified evidence at all. At no point was Sunny Nuckvi in custody of the Dodge County Sheriff's Office. I guess they would have a record of it.
You would think.
Yeah, if they did that. So he released the video. He released text messages that he claimed undermined her account and showed that she was able to leave O'Hare Airport in less than 90 minutes after landing. The sheriff went on to say, I don't have any charges here in Dodge County to bring against her. My only recourse is to make sure the public knows that she can't do this. And then she's doing that through a lawsuit instead of files charges.
Right.
It also includes 10 John Doe people accused of publication or replication of the false claim against the sheriff. Their names will be added to the suit once they are identified. The Chicago Sun-Times has also documented numerous prior alleged incidences of false accusations made by Nuckby, including a conviction related to the line about sexual assault and a stabbing.
So we have a long history of this person not telling the truth.
But I thought we were supposed to always believe the women.
Oh, gosh, I forgot about that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Always believe the women.
Remember, we've been told over and over again, women
always
never lie. They never lie, ever.
The sheriff is looking for $1 million in the lawsuit.
Yeah, well, I think that's reasonable because it's a lawsuit and you might end up with a settlement or maybe not.
Yeah, now this county commissioner's changing his tune a little bit.
Good.
Yeah, he said, it's my understanding that a lawsuit has been filed. I have not seen it. And if a suit has in fact been filed, I cannot comment on pending legislation. So he's got to be a little nervous.
Yeah.
If he's friends and all that, you wonder how much he knew ahead of time.
Well, he has to have some idea of her history, I would think.
Well, if he really didn't know and this took us total surprise, I imagine his comments would have been a little different.
Yeah.
Like I am outraged and embarrassed,
Yeah.
Versus I can't talk about it. There's a lawsuit.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder at those higher levels of power within the Democratic Party, and maybe politicians anywhere, but do they all wink, wink, nod at each other about all the stuff that, I fooled them this way.
For the things we've been reasoning, you would think that's what happens. That's the image. But I certainly have no knowledge of that.
I tend to be cynical. I view politicians as generally having a strong Machiavellian streak. What does it take to keep in power? That's what I'll do. But maybe it's worse than I thought.
When you read about how fast they jumped on the Swalwell thing, you think they already knew it. They all knew it.
Yeah,
and nobody's saying I'm shocked.
Well, what's interesting is so many people knew it, but no one was willing to.
Why not
push it?
Why would they not come forward? I mean, that's kind of outrageous stuff.
Because he's on our side, or we know the media wouldn't do it. I mean, people in the media said, well, I read some comments anyway. They said, well, we knew this story wouldn't fly, so therefore we didn't bring it up.
One of the listeners asked me to address the issue with ICE agents on what a great job they did to resolve the airport problem so quickly.
I haven't. They must be doing a great job because I haven't heard much about it.
Yeah, the waiting times have gone way down.
That's a big plus, huge plus.
Yeah, and people are so happy with them.
That's great because it's a lot of people are getting exposed to ICE agents directly.
Yeah,
and they're in helpful situations. I think that's a brilliant move by President Trump.
Yeah, to get those jackbooted thugs over there to help out for once. The Kremlin has jumped in on the Iranian thing.
Okay.
They said they're willing to take the uranium, the enriched uranium.
Well, that's interesting.
To get it out of the hands of the Iranians.
Well, that's interesting.
And I don't know if that's helpful or not. I mean, part of me thinks, well, maybe that is helpful.
I don't know because, there's the Russians have been allies of the Iranians, but it's kind of like a weak alliance, it appears. I mean, they're not willing to jump in and
yes,
they're certainly not willing to attack the United States.
But they had a kind of a pact that they would protect them.
But they're embroiled in this Ukrainian war that's been going on 4 years now.
Well, Putin came out on the day that the United States attacked and said it voided the agreement.
Which agreement?
They had an agreement with Iran, a pact between the two of them.
Oh, okay.
So they backed out of it real quick because the person they made the pact with is dead.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah. He was the Ayatollah. They made the pact with the Ayatollah. And since the Ayatollah's not around, that voided the agreement.
See, I wonder what China has China put out anything? They haven't really
heard.
Strongly come out. I think they said don't mess with our shipping, but
well, yeah, that was like a couple hours after that blockade started,
right?
And one China ship did turn around, was not boarded
Right.
or anything, but it did turn around.
So,
but I don't know if them accepting it is because they just want their hands on it, but I would think that the uranium probably came from them in the first place.
No, I don't think so.
Why?
Because
they're one of the biggest.
We have all kinds of reports of the technology that the Iranians have been using to enrich uranium for decades. So it seems to me they've been trying very hard to enrich uranium. So I wouldn't see that they wouldn't have some success at enriching uranium. So I don't think they had to import it. I mean, that's the whole. If they could just import it, there's not much reason to prevent them from producing it.
Well, you're right. They didn't get it from Russia. I just checked real quickly, just Googled it. But
now they've gotten technological assistance.
Yeah. They got a combination of domestic mining, imports, and byproduct extraction.
Yeah.
Shanghai and another place, as well as from Syria. Potentially stockpiles previously imported or produced, including uranium and enriched materials. So, yeah, they had their own mines and stuff.
Well, and remember, around 16 or something, there was some talk about them attempting to get some yellow cake from
Africa,
Nigeria.
Yeah, that was during Clinton.
Yeah,
Hillary.
Okay.
Yeah, back during then. The Los Angeles hotel industry is struggling.
Oh, could it be that minimum wage of $30 an hour?
Well, they were struggling before, but this is an add-on to the struggle. Mayor Karen Bass, I guess the mayor did it, mandated that the hourly wage must be raised by $2.50 each year until they reach $30 in 2028. That was a law that was signed in by the mayor.
So it's only $25 an hour now.
I think so. But they mandated $30 an hour. And this is for all airports and hotels, not for Burger King.
Not for Burger King. That's interesting.
Well, it's because they've got this big.
How about Panera? As I recall.
No, not Panera. No, but that's according to the American Hotel and Lodging Association, the union.
It's interesting.
They did it for the union, just on the union stuff. And that's something.
Because the mayor just did it. The city council didn't vote on it. I'm trying to think of how they do that. And I guess they have the power to do it inside California.
No, she just signed it, so it must have been the council.
Okay,
it was signed into law.
All right,
by the mayor. I don't think she just willed it.
Right, she didn't just decree it.
Well, it's hurting the industry actually.
Well, there's a lot of things that have been hurting the industry in San Francisco.
They've reduced hiring and cuts in labor hours now. Delayed or canceled hotel investment and development. Now that's the one that they should be most worried about. Is these guys don't want to build any hotels or invest in them, and they did a report on some questionnaires of all these guys that do hotels and all that, and the report finds that hotels across Los Angeles are facing increasing financial and operational pressure at rising labor and operating costs outpace revenue growth. Noting that development is slowing, investment is shifting to other markets, and some hotels have closed or delayed expansion plans.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised.
Yeah, you think? None of the members believe that Los Angeles is a favorable environment to make investments.
Oh, this is Los Angeles. I thought it was San Francisco.
Just L.A. No, Bass is L.A.
I misunderstood.
That's okay. But the 80% said that the city is not a good place for long-term hotel investment. Almost all the members surveyed said that rolling back the regulation would make the city's market more attractive. Good luck doing that.
Yeah.
And the hotels are the backbone of Los Angeles' tourist economy, invested millions of dollars in the city each year. Los Angeles hotels generate $12.5 billion in annual economic activity. Now we look at our ag business here; it's $3.5 billion, which is just huge. They're $12.5 billion in hotels.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Supports 64,000 jobs, produces more than 1.1 billion in state and local tax revenue,
Yeah,
and funds essential public services.
But they're talking about total economic activity, which is, a whole lot of different things.
Sure. What do you mean?
I mean,
it generates. Oh, she's saying because people will buy football tickets and come see the football
they'll buy
games.
tickets. They'll eat at a restaurant.
Yeah.
They'll buy gasoline.
So that's not the receipts from the hotels, is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay. The union, the AHLA, has released a report showing adverse effect of the minimum wage mandate. Can you believe that? The union said it hurt our industry for you to raise the wages. That's
really interesting. Yeah. Not necessarily what I would expect.
No.
But now, I kind of noticed something like this when I was traveling in Australia a few years ago because
they're not the union, they're just an association.
Okay.
Because
they had very high minimum wages and all kinds of benefits and everything. And what it was is that there were, in what we would consider service jobs, there just weren't very many people. You had to do a lot of things inside your hotel room that you'd expect somebody else to do otherwise.
You had to turn down your own.
Well, it was like you had to wash the dishes for your breakfast, and they wouldn't make the bed every day or something like that. It was, and there just weren't very many people. And then when I stayed at one place that was, it was more like a trailer park kind of thing, but they had rooms for rent inside of it. And then I got to talk to some of the people, and some of the people there were working off the books because those were the people they could get to do those jobs.
Right.
So it was just, to me, it was just indicative that when you raise the minimum wage enough, people find ways to not pay that. Either by they just don't hire somebody and then they have somebody else do it. You don't get the service, or they find somebody off the books to do it.
The American Hotel Lodging Association said they expect to eliminate 6% of all positions, about 650 jobs, since the hotel worker minimum wage took effect in September. They're going to lay off, get rid of 650 jobs.
Yeah.
Going to have a little robot doing it.
Well, I think that's very plausible.
Yeah. Get your own key.
And we're looking at
turn down your own bed, put your own mint on the pillow.
At robots becoming very capable at those kind of things, I think.
Yeah, like taking the bags up to the room.
Well, yeah, something like that, or making a bed, perhaps, or vacuuming a floor, cleaning a counter.
Yeah, got a Roomba in every room.
Well, something like that. I mean, if you increase the minimum wage, you increase the pressures to go toward automation.
Sure. Absolutely do. Did you happen to see Trump's meme depicting him as Jesus Christ?
Well, I saw it in a discussion of it. I didn't see it originally.
Yeah.
And it was bad taste.
I talked about it briefly yesterday. I said, I wish he hadn't done that. It's not nothing I would have said. Now, I don't know that it was Jesus Christ that he did.
It kind of looked that way. You don't have a doctor with his hands glowing, usually.
Yeah.
So
he didn't make it, but he did post it.
Yes. And I think it would have been best. That would have been one of the things that, it was late at night. I probably shouldn't have posted that or something.
Yeah. Well, it's taken down now.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Just in time. No, it's not. You can never get rid of it.
That's right.
But he's getting a lot of pushback. Republicans and Democrats both that said it was in bad taste, or shouldn't have done it. And they're saying depicted Jesus. I don't know if it's necessarily Jesus Christ, but it was supposed to be some kind of spiritual figure.
Yeah, it looks, it could be a saint, or it could be something like that.
And it was AI generated by somebody that some critics felt depicted Christ.
Right.
Trump showed healing a sick man while surrounded by followers and patriotic imagery such as flags, bald eagle, Statue of Liberty, also some jet aircraft too and stuff, and some.
Well, if I look at soldiers, I'd say that the patient, in my view, would probably represent America, and Trump would be showing as having divine help.
Yeah. Well, some people didn't like it. A lot. Riley Gaines didn't like it. She says,
oh my.
Yeah, she said, why? Seriously, I cannot understand why he'd post this. Is he looking for a response? Does he actually think this? Either way, two of things are true. A little humility would serve him well. God shall not be mocked.
Humility is definitely not one of Trump's biggest.
No, it's not his strongest asset.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a lot of pushback, not just from the Democrats. And at the same time, he's been taking on Pope Leo.
Well, yeah,
and I don't think his comments were terrible. He says he's weak on crime and terrible in foreign policy.
Right, and those are not things that are really so much of the Pope's bailiwick.
But it's what he's getting involved in.
Yeah,
the Pope's reaching out and doing some foreign policy stuff. And I don't disagree.
When I looked at the actual words that were said, it was not nearly as
it wasn't
acerbic as it might appear.
No, he didn't do like he did Joe, call him sleepy right. Leo or something.
I read one comment online that said it pretty well. It says it was a kind of stay in your lane.
Yeah. Well, I think the same should be saying to the Pope.
That's what Trump was saying to the Pope.
Trump's saying stay in your lane. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he gained anything by going after him. And I don't know if that was really going after him to say he's weak on crime and terrible foreign policy. But,
I don't think he's saying anything that anybody who's followed this Pope is surprised at.
Right. Yeah, but the spiritual with him showing he's healing a man or something was
bad taste, and
and I don't think it worked for him.
You can't put out so much stuff, and Trump puts out more than any other president I've ever known in my life.
Oh my goodness!
Without occasionally,
I think it's because he doesn't sleep.
Yeah, well, I think so. I think what's he say? What's he get? Couple hours of sleep a night? That's it.
He doesn't sleep. He just.
I mean, which is an amazing advantage. And then if you have somebody who's super smart as well, he has done extremely well.
Yeah. So, but he didn't come out and apologize for it. He took it down, said it meant something else to him. I think he said it was something like a healer. And
I'm trying to think of times when President Trump has apologized. I'm trying to think of them. Can you think of any?
I don't recall.
Yeah, me either.
It's not the first time he's taken something down.
Right.
But I don't recall. I don't think I have in this one what exactly he said he was doing, but he saw himself as a healer.
Well, I think of Trump as a healer. I think that he is healing the United States.
Well, and I think he's saving lives. I mean, Iran killed 40,000 of their own people before the invasion.
Right.
Protesters.
Right.
I don't know how many people were caught up in all the bombings when Trump was taking out a lot of things. But
really hard to know.
I would guess it would not be as much as 40,000.
I think you're right. I just don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ordnance was expended over there, and
people knew it was coming. They did it a lot. I think they did a lot of it all at night for a lot of reasons.
Right.
But probably the factories were not.
I mean, they're talking about I think a couple hundred Iranian Navy ships of all different sizes.
They say 150 at the bottom, 158 or something, I think.
Yeah. I mean, and there are people on those ships. How many? I don't know. I would think hard to have a ship, a crew of less than 5.
Yeah.
Well, that's almost getting close to 1,000 right there.
Some of those ships were pretty good size. I think
and not all of them would have all of the crew killed either. A ship goes down, people can get off, and they're not super far from shore, so you'd expect some of them to be rescued.
Well, I don't know if you saw any of that video that came from the rescue of the Wizzo, the weapon systems officer from the shot down F-15.
I saw some of that.
Well, but they were taking out ground troops. I mean, a lot of the video showed these aircraft taking out ground troops with machine gun fire and everything else. So I imagine it was a pretty good body count there.
I did not see that, but I did talk about it. I said, you can't have an armored column out in the open when the other side has air supremacy. It's suicidal.
But that's what they did. And my understanding, to protect that Wizzo, they took out roads even.
Yeah, that's very possible. I know that they had several Reaper drones, in the area, so that if any opposition forces would approach the area where the downed weapons officer would be, they took them out. And
they had some A-10s, and then I guess those 3 baby birds are heavily machine gunned.
So I'm not surprised. I mean,
but they had to keep the people away.
We have gotten better at this than we did in the first Gulf War. And in the first Gulf War, we just slaughtered the Iraqi armored forces.
Oh, man.
And I'm not saying that. I don't know if there were actual armored columns that were looking for the downed weapons officer. I don't know, but I wouldn't want to have been any of the Iraqi forces looking for him, because you're out in the open. If you show yourself as an enemy combatant, you're probably going to get killed.
Yeah. A lot of that happened.
Yeah, I believe it.
And they were close. They were close to the Wizzo guy. So they
I don't know. It could be. I mean, it makes sense. And as my understanding is, these were IRGC forces and not the Iranian regular army.
Right. And it took a while for them to figure it all out, because the communications are down. There was some misinformation.
That's right.
On where he was. Trump swears he's going to find the person that leaked it, though. That there was a guy that was still in country.
There was an Israeli journalist that talked about it,
right?
And then somebody else was said to have leaked some stuff. But I don't know if.
But they put that guy in danger.
Well, absolutely, they did.
Yeah.
Because the Iranians didn't know that. At least we didn't. We think they did not know. Now, because we didn't say that we've gotten both or we haven't. We were keeping our mouth shut, which makes sense. Right. So they recover one ejection seat, then they recover another ejection seat. Well, and they would see footprints going away or whatever. So they know there were 2, but are they already gone? They don't know until somebody leaked it.
And then there was a bounty put on them.
Right.
Yeah. And that gets everybody up.
That's pretty common.
Yeah.
And I've also heard reports on Tusi that there were people in Iran, and this is a sort of an area of Iran that is where the government is not real popular, I've heard, that were impeding
blocking streets so that they
IRGC troops. So
no, I saw that report.
I don't know how absolutely true it isn't. I've even seen reports that there were some villagers that helped the guy. Well, you wouldn't want to put that out there, because if the IRGC finds what village it is, suddenly that village might have a lot of dead people in it.
That's right. It wouldn't be good.
Right.
Yeah. They got an article about some of the states and the problems with some of the states that are putting tax plans to raise taxes, while other states are doing tax plans to lower taxes, and the migration that it's causing.
Yeah,
which we've been seeing a lot of.
Fair amount.
But there's a new wave of aggressive tax proposals coming up on this election cycle to actually add to it. And from efforts targeting high net worth individuals or proposals aimed at eliminating major taxes altogether. We've got them both on the books for different states. Eliminating taxes and raising taxes. And I guess Varney and Company, Stuart Varney highlighted it on one of his shows, showing the differences and how these lawmakers are experimenting with new approaches to taxation and mounting budget pressure and political demands. The Tax Foundation senior fellow, Jared Walzak, said when it comes to retaining wealth and investment within state borders, they have other places to go. It's unfortunately perhaps counterproductive if you want to fund certain programs at certain levels, which we're seeing, which is what we're seeing a lot in California.
Well, I see it just the opposite. He's saying it's counterproductive. I think it's very productive to allow laboratories of the states so that when people get fed up with high taxes in one state, they can leave and go somewhere else.
He was saying it was counterproductive. You want to fund the programs because you're not going to be able to. They're going to leave.
Exactly. We're saying the same thing. He's saying it's bad. I'm saying it's good.
He says that high tax states are already grappling with out-migration And they're looking at IRS data that's showing residents and businesses moving from states like California, New York, Illinois to states such as Florida and Texas in recent years.
Sure.
Big time.
And I would say a lot of this is outlook. Who is in charge? Are the people in the state? Is the government supposed to be supportive of them? Or are they just assets for the state government to fleece?
Well, if you're a socialist government, it's a state asset.
Exactly.
Like Mindani.
Our form of government in the United States was designed that the people were in charge, not the government.
But at the same time that California, New York, and Illinois are pushing to just increase taxes, other parts of the country, voters are pushing to reduce or eliminate property and income taxes, setting up a broader national debate over how far states should go reshaping their tax systems. Well, it just makes it farther apart.
Well, it does. And the big problem you have is that the federal government still taxes and they still print money. And if you are a state that is acting poorly, if you're spending beyond your means, then the obvious solution is get money from the federal government to cover the losses. And I believe President Trump will not be very favorable toward that type of an approach, but we've done it often in the past.
Edward writes that state concept that if taxes are raised on the working class, it does not allow the working class to depart the state as they cannot afford to leave, as many wealthy groups may. That makes sense.
There is some sense there.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly the more money you have, the easier it is to move. But on the other hand, you may have a lot of fixed assets that are not so liquid.
23 states have cut their top marginal individual income tax since 2021. I didn't know that many states have cut that. I bet it was in California.
I wouldn't think so,
No.
Or Illinois or New York.
But there's a growing push to improve competitiveness and attract residents.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, but I don't see California, New York, and Illinois even trying to attract residents. They were trying to attract illegals.
Well, that illegals become residents, don't they?
Yeah, but they're not. but they're not adding to anything other than the raw numbers.
Well,
they're not adding
I've
wealth. They're not
I've
adding.
seen it argued that they're very productive people and we need more of them. And
Well, you can't put them all into one
category. But I think that in general, especially illegal immigrants cost more than we gain from them. And and California has been working hard to attract all kinds of immigrants, it appears to me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, why have a sanctuary program unless you're trying to attack
Well, it's not
illegal immigrants?
just immigrants. They'll give you, one time they were doing it. I don't know if they're still doing it, but free medical if you want to have sex change. You know,
Well,
come on
there's
in.
that. And they pay for people to be homeless.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how much. One city, I think it was in
New
New
York.
York.
It was New York.
They're like $100,000.
No, it was 83 or something per
80
person.
But that's what they spent on them. Of course,
Yeah,
almost all of
The
that
homeless
money
person didn't get it.
didn't get much of that, and for a good reason, because they'd probably spend on
It's all in
alcohol or
overhead.
drugs.
It's salaries.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that counts the
So
homeless.
I wonder how many full-time people there are for every homeless person. You know?
Hard to say.
1/2, 2, hard to say.
Yeah, but they, but it's a great industry. I guess there's a lot of money to be made in the homeless.
Apparently, some people are making a
Because
lot of money.
if they're spending 81,000 per person,
Yeah, I think it wasn't Reagan said if you want more of something, spend money on it, and if you want less, tax it.
my listener said, no matter how both of you excuse this image, meaning the Christ one, the one that put some.
Both of us
I don't
said it was
excuse
in
it. I
bad
said he
taste.
should have done it.
Yeah.
His image is Christ, but I don't know that it's Christ. I mean, I don't know if he was doing Christ or not. I don't know.
Christ is depicted in similar ways, is what I read.
Yeah.
But it's potentially could be some sort of saint-like figure.
Yeah, but it's.
I'd say that probably the original person who put it together probably intended it to be Christ. That would be
Possibly.
my how to put it, honest opinion.
Possibly, which would be, I would not recommend doing that.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I think For Trump to post it was in bad taste.
Right.
For anybody else, who cares? It's freedom of speech.
Right. They just had a public meeting in Yuma to talk about the data center. And so it's amazing to me how much interest it's gotten all of a sudden. These data centers.
Well,
we don't have one in Yuma.
Right.
And we don't have one on the books that we're reviewing. There's no developer underway.
Okay.
But there are discussions because the Greater Yuma Economic Development Corporation is approaching people to try to build one here. That's their job. That's what they do, is bring business.
Bring in business to the area, right.
So because there was some upheaval about it, Greg Levon, the president, CEO of Greater Yuma Economic, he had a meeting about it. He said, "Thank you for coming today. I appreciate you having investors, elected officials, along with all the public as well." Now, it was set up to be a meeting for elected officials and investors, which is very normal for them.
Oh, but you had a lot of ordinary people that were not.
Well, they opened it up because there was so much
okay.
talk and everything. It was intended to be private, but they allowed public, and you don't really want the public in there because a lot of times these investors don't want to be known. They don't want their plans to be known.
Sure.
And generally, the elected officials that do attend, they all have confidentiality agreements, and we don't talk about it because it's sensitive for a corporation to set up something to move here, and publicity could kill the deal.
Right.
But they did it on this when they let them come in. One of the protesters outside the building, they protested. The picture looked like it was just a couple. It says you can't drink data. No data centers in Yuma.
What?
I've been talking about the water. There's so much. I mean, the fear that it's going to use too much. Yeah, I know. But the feeling was it's going to use so much water, and we can't drink data, which is true. You can't drink it.
Yeah. What's your point? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The amount of water is tiny that it would use.
And some said they wanted the meeting open to the public on live stream, so all the residents. Which I don't recommend that. I mean, you're having investors, you would kill any chance. Yeah,
well, I think
of a real conversation.
Who made the decision? Probably because it had gotten out to the public and so on. But if you're going to have a meeting for investors and legislators, well, maybe you should limit it to that for at least for initial talks or something. Maybe. I mean, there are also disclosure requirements.
Yeah. A lot of these investors don't want anyone to know who they are. They ahead of time, not until the deals are done, they're signed.
Sure, I can understand that.
For
one thing, maybe you're giving your competition an edge up if they know you're interested in a particular area.
Exactly. One of the protesters, Priscilla, she's a Yuma resident. She said it really worries us because data centers are going to be something that comes from a very large corporations that have a lot of power. And when we were talking about a community in Yuma, it's very scary to think about we, the residents, the people that live here, can potentially be just told what's going to happen. That's the way the world works.
Yeah. I mean, it's like,
if you're a resident in Yuma, that means you own your house maybe, but that doesn't mean you own everything else. And if somebody wants to buy it, they buy it and put what they want on it.
Well, exactly. So I don't understand what she's trying to imply.
She doesn't want any change in Yuma.
I guess that's it. Yeah.
Well, I talked to a guy the other day that.
But I mean, what in terms of a data center, I'm trying to think of anything that'd be more benign.
It's a clean industry.
Well, you're not.
It's not going to smell bad.
You're not putting out any noxious fumes.
No.
It basically takes in power from power lines of some kind, and you've got to produce the power somehow, and then you hire technical workers. You have out data probably via fiber optic or satellite. Yeah. That's it. And there's the number of people inside are probably not a lot, and they're probably pretty well paid.
But yes, they're technical jobs. So I imagine she's just worried that it's going to change her community. Well, it's going to add some wealth to it. It's going to bring money and jobs.
Yeah. And it doesn't. It's not you're not talking a large footprint.
No.
It's
depending on the size, I don't know.
But it's just not. It's not like
the
farmland, which takes thousands and thousands
It's
of
not like that
acres.
foundry on where they're making the chips. That thing is huge.
Up near Phoenix?
Yeah, up north of Phoenix.
Yeah.
That thing's huge, and that's billions and billions of dollars.
Oh, yeah. And there's, 3 of them in Arizona now?
I don't know.
At least were 2, and I heard of another one being proposed, at least. So, and this is part of the Trumpian program from the first term,
right?
Where he's saying, hey, we can't be dependent on other people all over the world making chips for us.
Military, we depend on it.
Right. So these are very high-tech companies making chips.
You don't have an F-35 without a lot of chips.
And then we have, we have Musk that's building a factory to produce chips too. I understand,
down in Texas.
Yeah, I'm not quite certain on the location. So you say Texas?
It's in Austin.
Really?
Yeah, but he announced, he was talking about the other day, and that it's going to do the entire process. A lot of these chip manufacturers, they'll do one process here. In fact, the one in Phoenix that they're doing chips, they produce the chip, but then it has to go to Taiwan to get this next step done.
Oh, well, that's
so you
not
ship
good.
the whole thing back. And Trump is saying that's all going to be under one roof because he's big into vertical integration anyway.
Right. Well, I mean, it doesn't help your security to produce chips where you have to send them overseas and come back.
Yeah. Well, that's and part of that was because they hadn't finished building out in Phoenix. They hadn't trained people. There's some certain thing they couldn't
maybe
do.
The plan is to eventually have it all in house.
Well, Musk is going to start out that way, apparently. But these things are billions and billions of dollars.
Well,
to build these things, and they take forever.
But it's because these chips, these integrated circuits, which have been around now for 60 years or so.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have they increase your productivity so much. I mean, look at what the lots of people we had with calculators or in banks. So we don't have them anymore. It's all computer chips. All these people that used to be receptionists. Well, now you have phone menus. I'm not a big fan of them, but that's what's happened. I mean, it won't be too much longer, I don't think, before a lot of the driving is going to be done by computers in autonomous vehicles.
Yep. And the chips keep getting faster, smaller.
Well, they get faster. I'm not sure. Yes, more dense for information transfer. But the physical size of the chips themselves, some of them are getting smaller. I guess
it produces less heat the smaller you are.
It is, and getting rid of the heat is a big important thing. So yes, and all of that is happening more and more rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
I've been you and I have both talked about autonomous vehicles, and Tesla has released their latest version of the software, 14.3. And the reports are it's incredible. It's wonderful, but it's not quite to the point of not having somebody supervise it.
No, they have it legally. You got to sit in the seat, and the car watches you to make sure you don't close your eyes or read a book.
Right. So, but that has been happening so rapidly, and they have automated taxis in Austin and in some other places.
In Phoenix, I think.
Yeah, the different company. Well, there may be some
the Waymo
Teslas, but Waymo is certainly up there. And so I really think in the next year, maybe 2, we'll probably have these autonomous vehicles. And the chance of that, just think of how many jobs are now performed by people driving from one place to another.
So your Uber is going to be without people.
There's going to be a transition period.
Right.
It's not going to happen overnight, but I think that I would not be surprised if there were very few human drivers on Uber 5 years from now.
I think you're right. I think that's once it gets approved and going, I think the ramp up's going to happen quick and it's going to flow.
I had read about a company that was having autonomous semi-trucks go from Dallas to Phoenix, and that was all. They were already doing that. That was already a thing. Now they had people at either end to operate them when they got close. They weren't completely dock to dock, but for the major part of the trip, they were operated without a human. I mean, that's impressive if you're already doing that on that route, which is one of the easier routes, I think.
Yeah, that's 80,000 pounds at 75 mile an hour.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would be very happy if I had an autonomous vehicle that would just drive for me when I was on the freeway. I'm happy to take over, when we get off the freeway.
Yep.
But that'd give me time to get a couple hours nap in between.
Do you know how many data centers we have in the Arizona right now?
I have no idea.
They said somewhere between 155 and 170.
Interesting.
Most of them all in Phoenix.
That's quite a few.
Yeah. Well, apparently they want more.
Well, yes.
We need more.
And what?
Because of this AI and stuff, I guess.
Well, and where Elon Musk is looking is putting them in orbit.
Yeah.
I think that's a fascinating idea. He says they'll be cheaper in orbit because the energy cost will be almost zero once you put them up there.
Right. There'll be solar arrays.
Solar powered.
Yeah. Now, it's something about the cooling. They have to keep, that's what the water's for. They use water to cool.
Well, sure.
Of course, it's like a radiator. It's going to be, they reuse it. It's not.
It doesn't go, it's not evaporative cooling, I don't believe.
No. And then space is cold, but I guess there's some problems with space too on moving it.
Well, the problem in space is there's three ways you can get rid of heat. You can radiate it, with something that you can feel. Like if you ever had a wood stove and you're a little ways away from it, you feel the heat coming off of it.
Right.
It's radiating out to you. And then you can heat by, or lose heat by conduction. You're touching it. You touch that stove. Yeah. Heat gets transferred to your fingers real fast.
Yeah.
When you're touching it. And then you can have transfer heat by convection, where you have a fluid, like, and in this terminology, air is a fluid, or water too, could be the same thing. That's surrounding the heat source. It gets warm and it moves to another location and releases heat there. So
space is very cold.
But space, you can't do conduction and you can't do convection.
Right.
So you only have really radiation. I mean, you could use conduction or convection to move to a radiator, perhaps, and then have the radiator by radiation remove heat. But you still have to get rid of it. And the only way you really can do it in space is by radiation. And there are ways to do it, but it's not as easy as if you are trying to dump heat into the ocean, for example.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have to radiate that heat, and you have to, it has to be in shade, because if it's in sunlight, it's going to get heated up by the sun. But if it's in sun, it would radiate heat, I would think, away from the sun. And probably those radiators, it all depends on what temperature range you want to use. And I'm not in that engineering. I just know you have to get rid of the heat, and you have to do it by radiation.
Well, at this meeting, investors propose a new natural gas pipeline. I understand that that's already been planned out. That would increase electricity generation capacity in the Southwest Arizona, northern Mexico. But I understand that stuff that's supposed to be in the works, the pipeline for natural gas.
Okay.
For power generation, because these things need to have their own power.
Well, my understanding is that it's preferred that they have their own power systems, because we're near maxed out on other sources. So we have to add, and they take quite a bit of power, some of them. So what the power source would be, a natural gas powered generator could work. I like the idea that, and it probably take a few more years, that Trump has put out, the Trump administration, of modular and micro nuclear plants.
Yeah, that's going to take a while. I know we've already got one in some university. They're checking it out and all that. I don't know how fast those things can come online.
Well, the Trump administration's trying to get rid of some of the regulatory roadblocks.
Yeah.
So it may be faster. Another thing that I thought was a great idea was to have these micro nuclear plants at military installations.
I think they should.
That every military installation would have its own source of power. A brilliant idea, and it makes our grid, our distribution grid, much more robust, much harder to shut down.
Right. And they would save a lot of money on the APS bill.
Well, the idea is that hopefully they could produce power cheaper than APS.
They probably could.
I think it's possible.
I don't know if they get a discount from APS because they're a big user. I don't know.
I don't know how that would work.
And I don't know what would happen. We worry about the data center saying that if the data center come here, they're going to use so much power, our rates are going to go up. Well, I think the rates would go up if we had something like the military base get their own power from a nuclear, because they're going to lose all that revenue from the military base. They'd have to make it up somewhere.
Well, what a lot of people have been saying for decades is, well, when somebody produces more power so that APS doesn't have to, that saves APS money because they don't have to produce a bigger plant. I don't know if that's true, but that's the argument. That's the argument that has been put forward. But I think if you have more power producers, the odds are, especially if they're reliable power producers like a nuclear plant would be, the cost should go down.
Well, we have seen solar power in the last 10 years become a big deal. Probably 10% of the grid, right?
Well, and it presents a real problem for the power companies.
I was going to say, we've got all this extra power being produced and the rates went up. They didn't come down.
Well, yeah, because they didn't. I mean, they're forced to buy power from solar power. It's not they have some of their own, and in Arizona it works better than most other places because we need the power when the sun is shining.
Generally, yeah.
I mean, the max power demand is probably going to be late in the afternoon.
Right.
So solar power, that's when they're producing lots of power. I mean, so there's somewhat of a match there. The big problem we have is that storing the power costs a lot. It's very expensive to store power now. And so you can't save that power during the day and then use it
you can
at night.
If you could afford the batteries.
Well, that's it. The cost of storing it is high at present. Now, there's battery technologies that are being improved all the time. So, we reach a point where it's cheaper to build storage capacity than it is to produce power. At some point, we may. Don't know.
Yeah. Well, we know our friend down at the Hull mine that he's off the grid. He stores power, but it's lead acid. He uses lead acid.
Yeah. Well, there's no question that there are lots of applications where it's economic to use solar power and batteries now.
Yeah.
It's just a question of how much and where. And I'd say as a major power producer for the for the grid, we have advantages because our major usage is in the late afternoon. Or maybe early afternoon, depends on time of year.
And I know you've played around in Australia quite a bit, but my understanding is that's one of the higher places to get electricity. It's very expensive.
It's very costly. I mean, I was astounded that what I call my genius farmers there in Australia, the ICAMP family, if anybody, they may have known them here in Arizona. Here there were a couple of members here were doing experimental work for a while about 15 years ago, I think, something like that. Anyway, they told me that it was cheaper for them to buy diesel generators and produce power with diesel generators than it was to use power off the grid for their irrigation wells.
That's not cheap.
It's amazing to me. And I looked at the rates and they were, they're like 4 or 5 times what they are in the U.S.
Well, and I know Elon Musk has had some stuff over there where he's built some systems where houses can be built where they're totally independent of the grid.
Right.
And that's with batteries and the whole bit.
And that makes sense, especially if you're any little distance more than, say, a half mile off of the grid. The cost of connecting you to the grid is probably greater than you could expend for a solar panel system.
Yeah.
So if you get a little ways off the grid, well, then it's more economic for you to have solar power and batteries. A lot of those systems used to be diesel generators, but more and more are becoming solar. And one of the applications for solar power that just makes tremendous sense is to pump water for livestock and such. I've seen more than one case where they used to have a windmill, and instead they put a solar panel up on top of the windmill, and when the sun shines, water pumps and fills up the tank, and when it doesn't shine, it doesn't. And it's enough to keep the tank filled enough for livestock. And solar here in the Southwest is much more reliable than wind.
Yeah, it would be.
And so that's a perfect application, because it essentially the power you're storing is just in the water you've pumped up.
But the point was, I know in Australia, they have working models, a lot of them, that houses are set up to be off the grid completely.
Oh yeah, well, because
the prices got so high, it was cheaper.
Well, it's not just that, but the expanding the grid out into the countryside is very expensive.
Yeah, if you want to run cable for 20 miles,
you
don't want to pay that.
It's just crazy, and you have large parts of Australia that are off the grid.
And I like the idea. If I could have a house off the grid, I think that would be great.
Oh yeah, and we're there. I mean, the solar panels have gotten
so
cheap, and batteries. They're getting there.
They're still so high.
Yeah, they are at present. But when you look at what electric cars cost, I mean, the battery for an electric car is probably plenty for a lot of households.
Yeah.
And so the battery cost in an electric car may be $5,000 or $10,000.
Probably closer to 10 for
I would say
the ones I would want, which would be the high range models, not the shorter ones.
And so, 10,000. Well, it would cost you that much for probably a quarter mile of power line.
Once a battery in a car gets degraded, and it does degrade over time.
Right.
It may be good for 300 miles when it's brand new.
Not good for 200.
Yeah. And or not even that much before they replace it once it gets down to minus 90%. But then it would be great to put that in your garage, that battery, and let it power your house.
Right. Because you're not toting it around everywhere.
No.
And it doesn't, most of these batteries don't take much maintenance.
No.
I mean, not like the lead acid. Lead acid batteries take quite a bit of maintenance.
They do. And I remember out there at Castle Dome Mine, he put in a lot of lead acid, but they were the gels,
Yeah, but they still take maintenance.
They do.
I recall. And then I've been talking a little bit about this Donut Labs battery.
Right.
And I would say it's still kind of out. It's still not clear that
Did they ever get those out as far as?
Well, they're supposed to be this month in April. They're supposed to be delivering their the motorcycle that uses those batteries is supposed to be being delivered to customers.
So they're not selling the batteries; they're selling the motorcycle.
Well, that's what I see. And they're supposed to have another announcement in about 3 or 4 days. So we'll see what that is. I mean, the claims are very amazing. I'm not saying they couldn't be true. My understanding is that they are physically possible. Some people claim they aren't, but I think they're saying they can't be done with this kind of battery tech, or they can't be done with that kind of battery tech, or they can't be done with this chemistry. But from my reading, that doesn't mean they can't be done. It just means in the limitations the people are saying they can't be done. And they are claiming, I looked at the latest update, that they have a second battery technology that's better than the one they are talking about. So we will see. In the meantime, there's about 4 or 5 other manufacturers that are all making claims for greatly improved battery technology that they claim will be out in a year or two.
That's what they claim.
The claim, right.
I've been hearing claims like that for a long time.
But we've been getting incremental improvements in batteries for years and years and years.
Yes.
And the batteries today are much better than they were 10 or 20 years ago.
But some of these claims are so outrageous as far as...
Well, people have been trying to get them for a long time, and they haven't been successful. So here's a small-ish company. I mean, they've got millions and millions of dollars behind them. Actually, there's probably hundreds of millions of dollars behind them. So it's not like they're just somebody in their backyard or in a garage. So we will see. I mean, I would say I'd give it till the end of April. We should know, because if it turns out they're not really shipping these motorcycles, I mean, somebody's going to get one of the motorcycles even at at $30,000 or $40,000.
Do you have one on order?
Say, I do not. And it's going to say, well, let's pull this battery out and see what it's made of.
Oh yeah, there will be one.
And so I expect that by the end of the month.
Yeah, well,
or people will just say, hey, you guys are just making it all up. You're not doing what you say.
Might be some regular old AAA batteries welded together. You don't know.
Who knows? I mean, if you don't let independent observers pull your battery apart and see what makes it tick, there's always going to be doubts.
Let me see. My one listener says a single large hyperscale data center can consume 1 to 5 million gallons of water per day. Now, those are numbers I've never heard.
I've never heard of that either.
In fact, when Greg was in here the other day, they wouldn't use that much in a year.
Right. Like 500,000 gallons. Was it 500,000 in a year?
He said that's equivalent of a town of 30 to 50,000 residents. So I would have to check that out. And maybe that would be consuming if you didn't recycle it, but these guys are all recycling it from what I understand.
Well, I would think so.
I'm not real.
I mean, and what difference does it make if you're on the California coast? You just pump in ocean water to cool off, and
I don't think they can use it though. That would muck it up. That would destroy it.
You put your radiators in the ocean.
Oh, put the radiators. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying that, or you pump the seawater over the radiators. That would work just as well.
Yeah, you could do that.
So there are lots of ways. Look at the big power plants. They use evaporative cooling, and that could consume a fair amount of water. But you don't have to do it that way.
No, but they've built so many of them. I'm sure they've know all the tricks.
I think they do.
And for them to build that many in Phoenix, they're not using that kind of water. They wouldn't.
My suspicion is that some plants would use that amount of water because they got a lot of water available and it's cheap. And some would not because they don't have a lot of water available and they do it a different way.
They use a lot of water at Palo Verde, but they recycle it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like Greg was saying, there's water that comes out of these sewage plants that is actually reverse osmosis. It's very drinkable if you want to drink it.
Yeah, it's very pure water.
Yeah, but for a long time
you're not allowed to by law.
Well, but I think that's changed though.
Okay.
But you're right. For years, you couldn't do it by law. I guess legislators thought, it's too big a chance to take. Maybe you should put some untreated.
I think they call it the yuck factor.
It is the yuck factor. But I understand the pond they're making out at the park, Yuma Park out in the foothills, is going to be filled with that water off of the.
I would call that.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see.
And
I've driven by it a few times. The water's already in it.
The
park's not open.
The implication was that that supply of water would be more than enough for this particular data center.
Right. Yeah. Then Greg mentioned that it would use a very small percentage of.
Right.
And we've got more water available. Yuma does than what we actually use.
Right. In legal rights to the water, we have.
Yeah. Not that there's not a water shortage. There is. But we don't use our allotment.
Well, and it's always at what price?
Yeah.
The water that we have available is incredibly cheap.
Well, yeah, it comes free. But there's a processing fee.
There's some processing cost.
Yeah, but water's free.
What you pay in your water bill is mostly not for the water. It's all the distribution and processing of
pumping
the water.
It, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and the network has to be maintained. If somebody gets a leak, you have to have somebody go out and fix it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some money involved in that.
Yeah.
Got an article on Church for the City, and I guess I knew about it, but I never really visited it. But Church for the City, City Kids Academy, and it's a daycare. Church for City, and they just had a ribbon cutting ceremony for the new kids academy preschool they started. So now they're preschool, the daycare, and I like that it's growing. And I've been at Church for the City 2 years maybe, and I've seen grow like crazy. When I first went there, I think it's seated about 700. They found a way to get like 800 or 850 chairs, but then two a day went up to 3 a day, three times a day for the meetings, and now they're packed at all 3.
Yes, and
so I mean that kind of growth is nuts.
Yeah, and I see the same kind of growth at the vertical church, and I read articles about there being revitalization of Christianity.
I
in the
believe
United
it. That's
States.
nationwide, or probably worldwide.
I hope so.
And Pastor Tyrone, though, he wants to make that, from a daycare to a preschool. He wants to continue, keep going to eventually get to 8th grade, and grow the school. And there's a big push for that too, especially since the state of Arizona, puts the money back to the wherever the kids go with ESA.
Right.
Out of public schools into private schools or religious schools.
Right. But it should be pointed out that money is a fraction of what we spend on the public schools.
Correct. We spend about twice as much on a public school as we do ESA.
Right.
Per student.
Per student.
In other words, a student gets reimbursed a maximum of $7,500 right now through ESA. Right. But you're going to get $15,000 if you go to public schools.
Which is just amazing to me. I mean, I look back at, and I think that my sister's got pretty good education. A little one room. Well, no, there were 2 rooms, 2-room schoolhouse that my grandparents and others put together, a couple miles from the farm. And their costs were basically, what the teacher's salary, which was not super high paid in those days. So it was probably, $100 per student or something. I think there were maybe a dozen students.
Wow.
Maybe $200 per students per year. I mean, of course, so it's 10x at least. No, it'll be more than that, about 20x. So that'd be about, say, $3,000, $2,000 to $3,000 per student back then. I mean, in today's dollars.
Right. But
so we're operating at about 5 times that amount here.
I guess we keep adding to the programs. I don't know. Keep adding to the overhead.
We pay teachers a lot more.
We got more principals and vice principals.
The real estate, by that I mean the
facilities.
The facilities are tremendously more expensive.
Oh yeah.
I have read, I think it's true, that the most expensive, or one of the most expensive facilities you can build in real estate is a school.
I would have thought it'd been a hospital, but
yeah, probably hospitals
up there. Yeah,
maybe they're right up there, but schools have a tremendous amount of restrictions on all kinds of code stuff that has to be built into them. So they're very, very expensive.
It makes sense. Well, this Church for the City, Tyrone Jones, a pastor, he said that he created an affordable child care, but also helped increase access child care in our region. And he says access because according to their records, or to the records from the Yuma County, there's about 18,000 kids in the county that are under the age of 6. And there's a child care capacity of only about 6,000 kids, which surprises me.
That must, I'm guessing that's official, registered or something capacity. Because those kids are being cared for one way or another. Somebody's caring for them.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of small mom and pops that probably don't.
Well, and maybe at home too.
Oh, yeah, there's stay-at-home parents,
right?
Of course, they don't need to go to a child care, but he said. But the pastor says we started the Kids Academy with the idea of wanting to just give full formation of kids. So not only a good education, not only a safe environment, but even a spiritual center. So that was the foundation of why we started. Now they want to go up to 8th grade. Good for them, but they just had a ribbon cutting. But I also understand, and I asked the pastor the other night that about the expansion of the church, because obviously he's outgrowing Sunday services.
Yeah, right.
And they're going to build,
and that's a big deal.
I mean, my goodness,
taking on a building project, you're talking multi-millions minimum.
Yeah, well, the normal, normally on Sunday, I think it seats 850 is what you can get in there, and they have to go to 3 times a day to get them all in. On Easter Sunday, they rented the Civic Center.
Oh, okay. Our solution was to have a couple of services on Saturday.
Okay.
We had 2 on Saturday and 4 on Sunday.
Well, they rent the Civic Center, and it seats 1,800. And they only did 2, but both of them were standing room only.
Wow. Well, I'm glad to see it. I think they do a good job. More the merrier, as far as I'm concerned.
And they had an overflow room for some children and stuff, and some people
nursing mothers, things like that.
So I don't know what the actual numbers were, but it would be pushing 4,000 people.
Yeah.
By the time they get that done.
Good.
But now I don't know how big. I didn't ask him, but how big this new church would be. I mean, if it's 850 now, what do they want to double? Do they want to build 1600? Do they want to build 1800? I mean, something as big as a civic center?
Well, like I said, and we've taken a somewhat different tack of having more services.
Yeah.
Like we do 2 services on Saturday.
And does the main pastor do all of them?
No.
I was going to say that gets.
To do 5 services a weekend is just difficult.
That would be. I mean,
exhausting. Even if you're giving the same sermon every one, it's just a time and effort. Right. I am not absolutely correct, I'm sure, about all pastors everywhere, but being a pastor takes a lot of work. It's not just giving one sermon for 1 hour, 1 day a week. I mean, there's a lot more to it.
Oh yeah. Well, and if on Sunday you're giving 3 now, the pastor's giving 3 versus 2, that's a big deal.
Right. And then, so
he's going to miss a football game or 2.
I don't know. I'm trying to think, because I haven't attended all 5 on one weekend.
Yeah.
But I suspect that our senior pastor, Pastor Jason, he probably does at least 3 of those, maybe even 4. But I do see fairly regularly other people giving this.
It takes a toll.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it takes some energy to do that.
I talked to Pastor Jason because I was and I said, boy, it looks like you've lost some weight. And he said, well, I said, at least you've got more muscle than you used to have. And he said, well, yeah, I talked to people about doing 5 services a week, and he said, you better get in shape. So he's been getting in shape. So
there's an event coming to Yuma called the Recovery Palooza. I guess it's the 14th annual. It's Arizona Complete Health. It's for rehab and stuff like that, which good deal.
I mean, it's needed.
Oh yeah.
It's so difficult for people who become addicted to get off of.
Right. It's going to be at Carver Park, 398 South 13th Avenue on May 2nd in Yuma. And it's about recovery. And it says you can give them a call, 928-261-8668, 9 to 1 o'clock, May 2nd, 9 to 1 o'clock. So it's a 3-hour program. Free food and drinks. So it looks like fun. We're going. Family fun activities, games, music, raffles, and of course it's all free. It's a free event.
Huh.
They just want to give some attention to the recovery palooza.
Man, it's just it's one of the big challenges of our civilization is how do you deal with
it's affected every family. I don't think there's anybody that is not touched by somebody that they know has been involved, if not involved themselves, and has been through tough times.
I don't have a solution. I used to think maybe I did, but I was wrong.
I've gone to witness some of the drug court stuff, the classes, some of the graduations of drug court, and some of the things. Of course, I've spent some time over at the Mission interviewing people, talking to them. A lot of the people at Mission have been through recovery and want to get back and try to help others.
Yes,
because there's been a lot of people that have been helped.
But
they've got a detox center over there. I think it's the only one in the county, probably.
The track record on recovery is not good.
See, you get all healthy, you feel good. You say, well, just one won't hurt.
It's
just like people that quit smoking. Just one cigarette won't. Yeah, it does.
These addictive substances are just, smoking, alcohol, a whole bunch of other drugs. They're just very hard for people to get off of. And it varies by person. It's not all the same for every person.
Nope. I would agree.
Some are highly susceptible. Others don't seem very susceptible.
Well, and there are some people that take one narcotic and they're hooked for life. They can't do it. And there's some that go,
Right. There are people who
it didn't mean anything to me.
Take it or leave it for decades.
Right. And who knows what that.
I mean, I'm thinking about Winston Churchill, who it's hard to call him an alcoholic because he was so productive.
Right.
But supposedly, as he got, once he got into
it could be a
adulthood,
functional alcohol.
Yeah, I think so. He drank like a fifth of hard liquor every day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, wow. And yet he wrote fantastic books well into his 80s. I think he was over 90.
He lived to his 90s doing that?
I believe so. Check it out.
I'm going to start drinking.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not a good example for people who drink a lot of alcohol because most of them don't have that ability.
Yeah. See, Winston Churchill. A great character in history.
And he was brilliant. He's no question, but he's a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
But he drank a lot.
He died at the age of 90. Wow. Born in 1874, passed in 1965.
I have to admit that I listened to his official biography, which was a huge number, like 30 discs that, like a CD disc that you put in your car player. I still have that collection. And it took me months to get through it all because I'd only listened to it when I was in the car, basically. And it turned me from a big Winston Churchill fan into, well, he was a great man who did wonderful things, but I wouldn't have wanted to work for him.
All right, tough guy.
He was just, he did not treat people well, in my opinion.
I don't know a lot about him. From what I understand, he was another one of those guys that really didn't sleep a lot, kept moving around.
I mean, he was brilliant. They say he did not suffer fools, which means that basically if you said something he disagreed with, he would be able to back his stuff up and make you look very foolish.
Mm-hmm.
A famous quip was supposedly he was at some party and some socialite woman was there and disagreed with him about his policies and told him, if you were my husband, I'd poison you. And his reply was, well, madam, if you were my wife, I'd take it.
That's witty.
He was a very witty guy. He's just super smart. And, but he was also ruthless.
He was what was needed. He was
what was needed
during World War II.
Yes, exactly. And but he drank tremendous amounts of alcohol.
Wow. And lived to 90. That's it.
And he was very productive. So, I mean, and there are plenty of people.
I guarantee you, if I drank a lot of alcohol, I would not be productive.
Yeah, I agree. Me either. And
I could not get in here.
And it's not, unfortunately, that's an example that people will say, well, look at Churchill. He drank all that one. He was great. Yeah. Well, most people, it doesn't work that way. The vast majority of people, it doesn't work that way.
And you're going to have to find out what the laws are once we get the cars that are completely electric and drive themselves. Can you still be drunk and be in one, even if the car's not?
I think the laws will be adjusted. It would just make sense that if you were at a bar and you didn't want to drive home and you tell the car, take me home, that would not be drunk driving.
Maybe
the car's not drunk.
Especially if you get in the back seat.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's coming. I don't think it's that far off.
No, it's not. And that's the way Ubers are going to be in the long run.
Yeah.
In fact, Elon Musk, when he's making his robo taxis or whatever, they're saying it's not going to have any pedals or steering wheels or anything. You just
right. They call it the cyber cab, and I've seen pictures of it.
It's small. It's a 2-passenger.
Yeah, 2 passengers, 2 doors. No, there's a like a luggage compartment in the back. Yeah. And then there's but there's no wheel, no pedals.
No, I imagine some research went into it though about.
Do
you really need 4 seats?
Right.
And apparently not. I mean, a lot of taxis are one person.
This is supposedly the least expensive Tesla car ever built.
Right.
And I'm hearing somewhere in the $30,000 range.
Well, they say that at least Musk was saying that the cost to the consumer is going to be like 20% of what an Uber's now going to be, because there's not going to be drivers, there's not going to be gasoline.
Well, that's right. And I've read some discussion of this online, and they're talking that you could conceivably get the cost per mile down to 20-30 cents a mile.
Right.
Right now, it's hard to find any place that's less than $1 a mile, and there's several places $2 or $3 a mile.
Well, I wouldn't even think higher than that.
Yes,
I don't know.
I think I read in San Francisco it was like $5 a mile.
Right. Yeah, so it'll be a revolution when it happens.
Yes, but it's hard to see a golden age when you're inside of it.
Right.
And we are inside a golden age, and so we have these incredible things happening, but because they take weeks or months to implement them, it's just another big change that's happening.
But I talk to people about that occasionally. And I ask them, I don't remember who told me this last time, but it says, I will never set foot in one of those things.
Never is a long time.
Yeah, it is. You never know.
Yeah,
but there is a pushback.
I talked to someone who had taken Waymo, driverless vehicle up in Phoenix, and I was surprised to learn that it cost about 20% more than a regular taxi would.
Right.
And I'm going, that doesn't sound like a good business model.
No, but I would still do it once.
Oh yeah, it was very interesting to talk to this fellow.
Yeah, I would do it once.
And I suspect that they will be getting cheaper. Competition drives efficiency, and if Tesla's, I should say, Cybercab gets out there and is able to attract lots of riders at $1 a mile, it'll do it. And then somebody else will come along, and eventually it'll get down and maybe, who knows, in the 20, 30 cents of
There's not going to be any drivers, but there's going to be a hub that they work out of, and that they're going to have to be cleaned, and they're going to have to be inspected and stuff.
Wouldn't necessarily have to. I mean, it might be more efficient to have a central hub. Might be efficient to have 4 or 5 in a big city.
I don't know. But apparently with cameras inside and everything, they'll be able to see if a cab gets soiled by a driver, by a passenger. I mean,
well, and not only that, but they will not be accepting cash.
No,
since it's all by digital transactions, it's all tracked. You know who is doing what when.
Right. And there's cameras.
Right.
So when you sit down, you don't want to take your knife out and carve your initials on the dashboard.
No, not a good idea. And if in our digital society, there's very little privacy.
Right.
And so, in a human cab, you might think that the driver has an eye on you. Well, in a cyber cab, the cameras definitely do. Not only do they have eyes on you, but it's all being recorded and probably goes to the cloud and never goes away.
Right. My listener was called Talk About Churchill. Said Churchill got voted out in 1945. Maybe the right person during those times. That's true. They abandoned him. Right. We don't need you anymore. Bye.
Yeah.
Well, of course, he got back in 4 years later, I think.
I think he did. I mean, I don't think he was the
PM,
PM, but he was a member of parliament, I believe.
I thought he was prime minister.
Well, you may be right.
I don't know. But I know at 45, they, you took us to the victory. Right. Now goodbye.
And a lot of people, because in hindsight, we can see it, say that, Great Britain won the war, but they lost the peace. They just couldn't seem to implement the competitive strategies in their industry, which was required to be competitive with the United States, even with Germany, with Japan, maybe France. And there was this socialist bent where they said, we won the war, so now we deserve free housing. We deserve, free healthcare. We deserve all this stuff because we won the war. And then they fell behind because they gave into a lot of union demands, and their industry could not keep pace with the rest of the world.
Yeah. Well, hopefully after this Iranian thing, we have a little bit more peace. I don't know.
I think we will. I think that'll happen. I still predict that there's going to be victory because the force is so overwhelmingly in favor of the American military, and that we may even see reparations to the United States in the form of oil revenue.
Well, Trump is asking for it. He said we shouldn't do all this work for everybody at our expense.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
In regards to competition, Edward had a comment. Competition is supposed to drive efficiency, and efficiency is supposed to reduce cost. That is a story told to the public, much as lullabies are told to children. But Insurance companies, being practical students of human disappointment, make certain that whenever costs show an indecent desire to fall, premiums must rise at once to restore the natural order. In this way, improvement is preserved from becoming dangerous to revenue.
Well, that's an interesting fairy tale.
It's an interesting one.
Because insurance companies are highly regulated
and highly profitable.
And they are. They're much, it's 50, 60 years ago. I read a book in which talking about insurance. And they said, if you're going to invest in whole life insurance, because whole life is insurance plus an investment.
Right.
And that you're much better off buying insurance company stock because the return is about 20 times as much.
Which is that's interesting.
And that was
it's not a big return, but it sounds
60
good.
years ago.
Like, you're going to be paying for insurance, but you're going to get something back. I mean, that always sounds good, but what you get back is a much smaller.
It convinced me to use strictly term insurance for the insurance because that's pure insurance.
Do you carry insurance now?
Well, I have some sort of health insurance.
Oh, I have health insurance, but I don't have
any life insurance.
I don't have any. I carried term.
Once my children got to be adults.
When I had the business and the kids and all that, I had term. And now I don't need it.
Right. Exactly.
Nobody cares about me.
Well, it's not just that, but if you are frugal and careful, it's more in your interest to self-insure.
Right. Yeah.
Because the insurance companies aren't doing this because they love you.
No,
they're doing it to make a profit. And so that profit could go into your own pocket.
I'm old enough now. I should be moving in with my kids. Have them take care of me.
Well, my brother always says, he doesn't quite say that. He says, well, I raised you kids. Now send me money. And I'm going, it's not the common.
Try it. You never know.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about this before we went on air this morning about patients demanding unvaccinated blood, which I found very interesting.
Well, I can see that there's a large percentage of the population that are very skeptical and with pretty good reason.
I'm one of them.
About the effects of
and we're talking
COVID-19 vaccination.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of indicators out there that there are higher levels of adverse effects than we've seen on other vaccinations. It's not exactly a vaccination. I mean, this is RNA stuff, which is much sketchier. I've
seen some claims. I think it's just claims that the vaccine killed like 70% of the deaths from COVID. It came from the vaccines. I don't know how you verify that.
Especially
I don't even know if we have.
Especially when the official sources are doing everything they can to obfuscate.
Oh my gosh, they still don't talk about it. We still don't have it on the CDC.
I find them. There's a lot of smoke there. I find it very likely there's some fire.
Oh gosh. I mean, so many strange things happen. I mean, you have to talk to the morticians that changed their practices of embalming bodies because of all the clots. They couldn't drain fluids from a body.
It's, and you get a lot of these reports that are on the edge of anecdotal, I would say. But, a lot of anecdotes start adding up to data.
Yeah. So, but whatever, people don't trust the vaccines anymore. I mean, big, vast amount about them. People don't trust them.
What we saw, there was so much lying.
There are lots of lying.
There's so much lying that why should we trust everything they say? Well, you can't, because we know they lied about this, they lied about that, they lied about several things. And then we find out that they say, well, but trust us, it really was good for you. Well, I think people are rightfully skeptical about that.
Right. But they're saying that now people that have to go get, some operation, you've heard of people saving their own blood to get all that. They're asking if they get a blood transfusion, they want the donor to be unvaccinated, meaning the COVID vaccine.
Because there's a lot of claims that these vaccines have continually create fragmentary RNA and potential problems are in the blood of the people who took the vaccine. When I call it a vaccine, but really it's an mRNA type of treatment. It's not exactly a vaccine. Something a little different. Well, significantly different, actually.
Well, and that's what they're afraid of. They don't want to have any of that in them because it doesn't go away. It stays there.
Well, and it can replicate itself. That's the idea.
Vanderbilt University in Tennessee conducted a research that they received 15 requests for unvaccinated blood between January 1st, 24 and December 31st, 25. That's not a lot.
Doesn't sound like a lot to me.
The median age of the patient was 17 years old. More than half were children. 13 of the patients received blood donated specifically for them by family members. And this is where it really gets weird, which is known as a direct donation, which is not uncommon.
Right. Makes sense.
But then it says this can be risky.
And I'm going, well, why is it any more risky than a regular donation?
Well,
I would think it'd be less.
Well,
you know the person, you know their lifestyle, their habits.
They tell you, because most direct donors are giving blood for the first time, and their donations are more likely to contain potentially harmful pathogens, which makes no sense.
No, that doesn't make any sense to me either.
I don't know why.
Because they don't test the blood, as you mentioned to me.
No, I'm not.
Once it's given.
Yeah.
And so why does it make a difference that they're giving it for the first time?
It doesn't say.
And also you have some high risk groups that give blood because that's the way they get money. So you get paid to give blood. And often those people are on the fringes of society. So I would think they'd be higher risk. The idea that your family members give blood, first off, the person is doing it. They're not getting paid for it. And they're doing it to help you. So that seems to me less likely that they would be a risky kind of person, if you see what I'm saying.
It doesn't make sense. But they go on to talk about, these case studies, or just these 15 people, which is
a small number, very small.
And some of them had issues with the blood. They developed anemia. And why would that be from a direct donor versus a not direct donor?
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. It sounds like this whole thing was written in a way to say, stop avoiding vaccine.
That's what it sounds, and I haven't read it. I only listened to what you told me about it, but it does sound to me like the purpose of the article was to make people reluctant to ask for blood from people who had not gotten the vax.
Well, it's hard to do. So I typed in real quick because I'm curious, like how many people are still getting that COVID-19 shot?
Oh, good question.
Yeah. And it said, as of March of 26, very few people are getting the latest COVID-19 shots. About 9.3% of children have gotten it, and 11.1% of pregnant women have received it from 25 to 26. And
that seems kind of high to me.
11% and 9%. Well,
25% of pregnant women?
No, 11%
oh.
in the years of 25 to 26.
Over 2 years.
Over 2 years.
Still, I mean, I would not, if I had a wife who was pregnant, I would not want them to get the shot.
Well, 77% of the population has had at least one dose since the beginning of the pandemic. So we know at the beginning,
so we got 23% of the population that has not.
It was required.
It was really pushed hard.
Well, you get fired from your jobs. The hospital fired people.
My
military kicked people out.
I was told I can't see my grandkids unless I did.
Yeah. So the trends are that people are not getting it because there's no trust.
Well, yes. So
there's no trust, and now there's no trust of anybody that got shot. They're saying we don't want your blood. Again, it looks like small numbers to me.
Well, they're only talking about 15 cases.
Yeah,
and it doesn't sound like it's that hard to get blood that is not vast. I wonder, when you give blood, do they ask you?
No, that was mentioned. I mean, they ask you about 15 questions about your sexual activity.
Yeah,
and then another 5 questions about your drugs.
Yeah,
and then a couple on travel.
Right.
And then they say, you're good to go. We're out of time, buddy. I appreciate you coming in.
Been fun.
I'll be back. What is today? Today's only Tuesday. I'll be back with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's Mortgage One Studios with Russ Clark. We'll be back.